Hello, the Dark Star rises once more. We're Secret Agent Agency, and thank you for joining Eleno Vision's encore performance. We are playing a game that became very beloved about a year ago. This is Mirrors for the PC88, and we found out over the past year that there's a lot more meat on this bone. So, let's see. I am your double king for this evening, Kevin, and joining me is Andrew, who is reprising his role as Detective Clark, and Andrew.
Oh, those are my roles. I don't even remember.
And Jihun will be giving voice to all of the sorcerers and cultists and shamans and priests, any kind of like magical weirdo. I think that's what Jihun's going to be voicing. Is that correct, Jihun?
I volunteer for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And so we're coming back to this game after a year away from it, and we're just like smack right in the middle, right? So here's how this is going to go. I still have the save state that I created at the end of video 2 on YouTube, and this video will serve as an alternate to video 3 on YouTube. So very early on, we will get a choice to show Susanna a letter or to not show her a letter. And last time we did not choose to show her the letter, so this time we are, and that will give us access to some more endings. So you guys think I should do a quick synopsis? It'll probably be annoying for anybody who's like binging the videos, so
I doubt it.
Okay, so we play as a guy named David, who is the vocalist of a band called Eleno Vision, and they are on a European tour, but just before the tour, their manager was in a car accident and she passed away. So their manager is replaced by this woman, Susanna, and David has difficulty sleeping at night, and he's like haunted by like weird prophetic dreams of like events that he dreams about, and then something very similar happens in real life that is very close to his dream, and so that's really difficult for him to deal with. So Susanna gives him sleeping pills, which are supposed to help him sleep, but secretly she's like a sorceress or something, and she's giving David pills to help awaken his powers because he is in secret the Devil King, some kind of magical like ancient magical warlock or something, right? And so as they go throughout this European tour, David has all these like hallucinations and dream sequences where he sees somebody like get killed, and then he wakes up in the morning and finds out that some person actually got killed the same way as in his dream. When they perform live, the crowds are like unreasonably intense, like people faint, people die at their concerts, that sort of thing. And these two detectives are trailing them for some reason, I guess because they believe he has like some kind of connection to murders. I don't remember that part, and I didn't make note of it as I was skimming through the videos last, but so where this video is picking up is we just had one of those concerts where the crowd was like going insane, right? Like it was almost like ritual, like, you know, they were all like beating each other up, getting like really bloody. I think some people fainted, some people died. And at some point somebody passed a letter to David addressing him as the Devil King, and I think he's curious how someone would even know to like call him that, because he hasn't told anybody but his bandmates, I think. So that's where we're picking up, is like right after one of those concerts. Is that a good synopsis?
Sounds about right. Kind of came back to me a bit as you were kind of going through it.
Yeah. So here we go. I'm loading the state.
Should make a clip note.
So we are beginning the same way that our episode 3 of this game begins, but we're just going to take another route like a few sentences into this. So once the party was over, Susanna visited David in his room. Whew, I'm so tired. That was a bigger party than I expected. Well, I'm leaving for my holiday tomorrow. This reminds me, when are you going back to your apartment? I'll help you clean up. David spoke. I'm getting out of bed late, so probably in the evening. You better steel yourself, though. I didn't tidy it one bit, so it's as messy as it was before we left for the tour. That bad, huh? Lucky for you, I enjoy cleaning. I'll bring some fresh ingredients so we can have dinner in your room instead of eating out. You're going to cook for me? I look forward to that. I'm not sure I'll even be able to fall asleep now. But you have to. You'll have nightmares again if you don't rest properly. David considered telling Susanna about the letter he received, but the sender said not to tell anyone. He decided to tell Susanna about it. Speaking of dreams, take a look at this letter. Someone left it for me at the front desk. It mentions the Devil King. Blood drained from Susanna's face as she read the letter. By the end of it, her hands were shaking. Susanna, is something wrong? No, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. Anyway, it does mention the Devil King. How would they know about your dreams? I've wondered that myself. I've only mentioned it once to the guys during the tour. Maybe they told someone else? Maybe it was a tabloid reporter who sent you the letter. They may try to write an article linking your popularity to an occult part or something. That would be very bad. Those people know how to get a story out of you. You know what? I'm not going. Agreed. If they were legit, they would just come to talk to you directly. Unfortunately, when you're popular, you also attract a lot of weirdos. I'm glad I showed you the letter. With that load off my shoulders, I feel so sleepy now. Between the concert and the party, I don't know how I'm still up and about either. I'll go home and sleep. Have a good night, David. Susanna left the room. David laid down on the bed and fell asleep immediately.
I used to be able to do that. Getting worse at that.
Yeah.
So do we see every ending for the other route?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, can anybody actually picture me like how far we went back in the total story time?
Just before like kind of all this big shit has I guess started going down.
So would that be
Yeah, I guess so.
2/3 of the story or like 1/3 of the story?
2/3.
Okay.
Yeah.
The following day, David woke up around noon. He was still anxious about that letter. Without receiving any further communication from the sender, he prepared to leave the hotel. Susanna opened the door and walked into the room. Are you ready, David? I've already brought all my stuff home, so once you're done checking out, we can have a real vacation. Whoever sent me that letter never contacted me again. I guess they weren't serious after all. Let's go, Susanna. After leaving the hotel, they took a cab to David's apartment. After tidying up the room, Susanna started cooking as she promised. This is probably the first time this room is filled with such a delicious smell. I usually just heat up some instant meals. When would you like to leave for the countryside? I'm ready when you are. I suppose it's best to leave ASAP. 2 weeks don't last that long. How about tomorrow? Hotworth isn't very far from here. We can go there by car, and by car we can take as many detours as we want. I like that. Fewer people see us travel. It'll be more relaxing. Yeah, let's go by car. Alright, it's ready. Sit down, I've made your favorites. Wow, this looks and smells amazing. Would you do this for me every day if we got married? Just a casual reminder, they met for the first time maybe about a week or two ago.
Yeah. Oh. Can you figure out what is on the table there?
I can't discern it at all.
Like spinach smeared on some bagels?
I want to say lobster.
Yeah, like I kind of want to say lobster too. It's got like little like antennae thingies.
Yeah.
She just cooked you an entire lobster?
It's either that or like baguette cut in that slice of baguette.
So I remember one thing we did was we went to an Italian restaurant at some point, and we went to an Italian restaurant but ordered Japanese.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was. We went to a Japanese restaurant in Italy, I think. So never mind. I was gonna say I wondered if this is the same like JPEG that was in like one of the other like restaurant scenes.
Oh, that would
very well be.
I mean, if you want to be really clear about it, like, we might have to dig it up.
Yeah, I guess we can check the tapes.
Suit there.
David opened a bottle of champagne and made a toast to their vacation together. Okay. David's first night of the vacation passed wonderfully, without a single nightmare, possibly because Susanna was sleeping right next to him. The next day, around noon, David's car left the M3 motorway, entering the A30 road. They were being tailed by Clark and Vince. Well, who knew David and Susanna were an item? We could make a boatload of cash selling pictures of their vacation together. Clark spoke. This is you, Andrew.
Yep. It's only as long as nobody else finds out about it. At any rate, they're supposed to be heading for Haworth, like in the Wuthering Heights, but why aren't they taking the A6?
If you're in the A30 on your vacation, you're probably going to Salisbury. You know, Stonehenge.
Oh, that was a good one too. Stonehenge, huh? A fitting spot for the Devil King. By the way, it turns out that Susanna's mother is known in some circles as a sorceress and fortune teller. And Susanna's hobbies include fortune telling as well.
Now that you mention it, all the people she met during the tour had something to do with divination. Maybe David's ring has something to do with it.
He has no special interest in fortune telling, but he does like that ring. It wouldn't surprise me if our client was connected to that stuff, considering how concerned they are about it.
Are we getting involved in some kind of conflict between white mages and dark mages? Let's drop the case, Chief. I don't like occult stuff.
We're professionals. We can't drop the case once we take it. With that said, this contract only covers David's vacation. I'll turn down any further requests. I completely forgot who had hired them initially.
I don't remember either.
Wasn't that the people who support Devil King to ensure that?
Probably.
As the sun began to set, David and Susanna arrived in Salisbury. Instead of staying at the luxurious Red Lion Hotel, they parked their car in front of the smaller Cathedral Hotel. Shortly after 9 p.m., they left the hotel and entered the A360 road. The headlights of their cars shone light on the road as they drove through vast fields and pastures lit by starlight. They won't let you inside Stonehenge during the day. It's much better during the night. It's quiet and there's nobody around. We can stand in the middle of Stonehenge and look at the stars. Hey, having some foreknowledge about this game, that doesn't sound like the best idea.
Star.
I've been to Stonehenge before, but never during the night. I feel like it would be pretty ominous without lights. There's fewer fields around. We must be getting close. The headlights of the car illuminated the megaliths of Stonehenge. David parked the car at the end of the paved road. Though there were no artificial lights, those enormous boulders, arranged in a circle, were clearly visible under the starlight. It was like a scene from a fantasy world. This is the center of Stonehenge. Look, David, if you turn south, you can see a very bright star in the gap between the stones. It's like the start of darkness. You can see the stars from here too. Maybe it's because there's no moon tonight, but the sky seems covered with stars. It's like we're floating in space. Standing near Susanna, David looked up, towards the southern skies. He could only see the stars above him, however, as the huge stones were covering the view south. Where's this gap you mentioned? I can't see anything south. You see that cavity in the stones in front of you? Look at the top of the stone sitting above and connect it to the top of that other stone. Try crouching a little. Whoa, that's definitely a bright star. I'm surprised I didn't notice it earlier. What star is it? That's the Belle Mare Comet. It approaches Earth only once every 300 years. It should be at its closest in a week. Its apparent magnitude is about 5, so it's not particularly famous. Is it really only 5? It looks as bright as the moon to me. That's only because you're seeing it between the stones. Even this way, I can barely make it out. You must have exceptional eyesight. When I look at that star, I feel like I can sense the power of the universe itself. What happens during our concerts seems so small in comparison. The universe is amazing. Gazing at the stars is romantic, but I can't do what you do. What's it like, sensing the power of the universe? I don't think I'm doing anything special. You're not thinking I'm going to change into the Devil King, are you? I'm still the same as ever. Would it be so bad, though? As a Devil King, you could fly among the stars. Then you could hold me, and we could fly together, like Superman or Peter Pan. David and Susanna were both laughing happily. After a while, their car left Stonehenge. Clark and Vince emerged from the shadow of a megalith. They walked to the center of Stonehenge, where David and Susanna had been standing a few moments earlier. They turned their eyes towards the southern sky. I think I see it, Chief. That Belmare comet Susanna was ranting about. It looks just like any other star, though.
Astronomy, one of Susanna's hobbies? I've never heard about this Belmare comet once in my entire life. What about you?
I barely know about Halley's Comet. I barely know about Halley's Comet. Is it that strange that Susanna knows about it? Nothing weird in chatting about stars while stargazing with your boyfriend. Clark looked around, as if considering whether to inspect the area or not. Eventually, he and Vince got in their own car and left Stonehenge.
How the other two not notice them when they're like the only people who went to the same location?
Listen, you don't question the game logic, okay?
Like, how do you hide your car from them?
Very well, I guess.
In one of the hotel's double rooms, Susanna was sleeping peacefully. David, who was sleeping next to her, woke up and looked around the room. Did someone call out to me? It was a man's voice, so it couldn't have been Susanna. Davito! Whoa! Someone's calling my name!
With Japanese accent.
Yeah.
You can sometimes hear it saying it now.
Holy shit, that's great. David.
Who are you? Show yourself!
I am King Horror. I live in your blood. The Star of Darkness is calling. The time has come for the Devil King to return.
The voice was loud and clear, as if it came from within the room. David looked around, but there was nobody else besides him and Susanna. Hello, welcome, Gypsy.
I lay in your eyes on the blood of the northern tribes. My blood shall seethe within your veins, and the Devil King shall be reborn. That is only possible now the stars of darkness shine upon the earth.
Are you saying I have the blood of the Devil King? I don't care about that. I'm fine the way I am. I don't want to become a devil.
That will not do. The King of the North will hunt you down and kill you in order to sever the bloodline of the Devil King. The battle has begun the moment the star of darkness first shone upon this planet.
There's no such thing as a King of the North in this day and age. You've only been showing me nightmares and visions of vengeance from a long time past. And even if there were a King of the North, I can't just kill someone.
You have been exposed to the light of the stars of darkness. Your power as the Devil King is already manifesting itself, and the northern tribes took notice.
I'm gonna take a brief second to turn you up a bit, Jihun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of guess up. So, yeah.
Okay. I've turned you up as loud as I can. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is still you.
Yep. By denying your call as a Devil King, you are willingly accepting death.
My power is the Devil King. Enough of this nonsense.
Ooh.
David shouted loudly, waking Susanna up. What's wrong, David? Who are you talking to? The sound of Susanna's voice brought David back to himself. He could no longer hear King Haroth. You're sweating like crazy. Did you have a nightmare? It was neither a nightmare nor a vision. I was talking to King Haroth himself. He said the blood of the Devil King flowed in my veins. I don't want to believe it, but I think I have to accept it. King Herath, you say? I didn't hear anyone. I knew it. You possess amazing powers that no one else has. What did he tell you? He said that now that the Star of Darkness is close, I must lay my eyes on the blood of the northern tribes, awaken as the Devil King, and have my revenge upon the King of the North. But I'm not a murderer. The Star of Darkness from beyond the end of the universe, the Bellmare Comet? If that's the case, it would be at his closest point 1 week from now. Did he mention where to find the King of the North? No, nothing about it. He only said that because I've already manifested the power of the Devil King, the northern tribes will come to kill me. Listen, Susanna, I think it'd be best if you returned home alone. No! I can't live without you! The Susanna from your visions always remained at her king's side. I want to do the same. This has become one hell of a vacation. What's going to happen to me if I become the Devil King? Will I be able to keep singing?
First thought.
That's what you prioritize? Jesus.
Cheer up, David. Here, take this pill and get some sleep. David took the pill and calmed down, falling asleep in Susanna's arms.
Oh,
Like
yes,
melatonin?
this person is a rock star.
Yeah, he's a vocalist in a band that's on a European tour. David and Susanna left the hotel early in the morning, taking the A30 road to Bath. I grew up in Haworth. After my mother passed away, I was raised by her dearest friends, Mr. and Mrs. Lands. I'm sure they'll treat you well. Do you really think the northern tribes could come looking for me? This is the modern age. We have the police, for one thing. Think about it. Those nightmares, those visions you have, those aren't natural. If the Devil King is real, then so is the King of the North. We just passed Bath. If we take the M5 motorway, we can stop for lunch in Bristol. Good idea. We haven't had breakfast, so I'm feeling a little peckish. David parked the car at the Maxwell Plum restaurant in Bristol. As he and Susanna sat down at a table, Clark and Vince entered as well, sitting down at a nearby table. Thank God we stuck that bug on their door. They usually wake up in the afternoon, but they left the hotel early in the morning. I wonder what happened.
Oh, Lightning's music. When I mentioned the Belmar Comet, our client kept asking for more details. Then they told me to keep a closer eye on David. Something's definitely up.
I don't like this, Chief. Call me paranoid if you want, but there's been weird murders around us ever since we've been on this case. It's like wherever Susanna goes, someone ends up dead, even if she's not involved.
Maybe I should have had one of my friends in the business investigate the client. It would be fine as long as he doesn't drop my name. The phone number the client's using could be a good place to start.
Please do. To know the enemy, know your allies. Or something like that.
Alright, I'll call him. You keep an eye on our couple.
Clark left to make a phone call. While Clark was using the phone booth, Susanna herself walked towards it, waiting for her turn. After finishing his call, he waited until Susanna was looking away to return to his table unnoticed. When Susanna came back to her table, Clark went back to the phone booth one more time, returning shortly after. Nice job with the bug. Let's rewind this baby and find out who she was talking to.
Lucky I had this wiretap with me. I wasn't expecting her to make a phone call right after me.
Let's hear it already. I feel weird just looking at the tape.
I'll listen to it first. Damn it, they're leaving.
David and Susanna paid their bill and left. Clark and Vince left in a rush. Both cars were driving along the A30 road. As it was a working day, the road was clear and the cars were moving at a fast pace. Why don't we listen to the tape, Chief? Nobody will be able to hear us here. Clark started playing the tape. Though unclear due to the noise, voices could be heard. I'll be there later today. Tell the others to meet me at the predetermined location. There's no doubt that David has inherited it, but we have yet to... you want to just say this is you, Jihun?
Alright. Where are you now? The Northern Tribes could make a move anytime now. You must hurry.
About the Northern Tribes, David hasn't noticed yet, but the two detectives are still following us. Have you found out anything about their client?
We managed to take a picture, but our mark has managed to elude us.
Then we'll let them roam free for the time being, until we know the identity of their client. We may have another chance soon. Talk to you soon. The conversation ended there. So she was talking to a woman, the two detectives. That's gotta be us. So Susanna knows we're tailing her. What do we do now?
I get it now. Remember when she was waiting around near the Tower of London? She was confirming her suspicions. Well, since they know about us, I guess we can investigate with impunity now.
It looks like they're headed for Haworth. It's too far to reach it within the day, though. They'll probably stay somewhere along the way.
We'll find out soon enough. Anyway, looks like Susanna's friends are also looking into our client, and they mentioned the Northern Tribes.
Oh, I wanted to bring this up too because he appeared in one of the endings and you voiced him, but it looks like we're heading back in his direction because they brought up his name already. So in checking the tapes in the previous episodes we've done, you also voiced Mr. Lands, Andrew.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so if he comes up. David's car left the highway and entered Stratford, the birthplace of William Shakespeare. They drove through the countryside, along the River Avon. Rather than entering the town, David's car took a small road that followed the Avon Canal, a small agricultural waterway tributary of the River Avon. Finally, they reached a farmhouse in the middle of a large field. Susanna knocked at the door and they were greeted by a couple in their 50s. David and Susanna were greeted with a smile and invited inside. Clark and Vince stopped their car and watched from a distance. However, they did not seem to get out of the car. Susanna introduced David to the couple. David, these are Gerd Holly and his wife Harriet. We used to visit them often when my mother was still with us. Is that how you would pronounce that, Gerd?
Gerd.
Gerd?
Isn't that... I feel like that's a short for Gerald. Yeah, like something along the line of Gerald or something.
Is it GIF or GIF?
God damn it, don't start that shit.
We were on our way through the countryside, and when I thought about you, I wanted to see you again. Would you mind if we stayed for tonight? You can stay for as many days as you'd like, sweetie. It's just the two of us here. We could use the company. Mr. Gerd, are you still studying magic? Oh, fuck.
She meant the magic.
Oh, yeah, this is you, Jihun.
Hold on a minute.
I think I remember this face. Is it like one of the fortune teller faces, or no?
I have no idea. Did
I like
Jihun
his
step
hat.
away?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Wow. I'm nowhere near as good as your mother was, but people still come to me to have their fortunes told, even if they don't always come true. How about you?
All this fortune telling in this game, dude.
I had to focus on my work, so I pretty much forgot all about it. I'd like to study it again once I have some free time. Whoa, you used to know magic? My mother was a sorceress, you see. She was pretty famous, so I used to imitate her. I could never touch lizards and frogs, though. The Susanna from my visions was also a sorceress. If you're her descendant, you might be able to become a first-rate sorceress yourself.
My mom just have impeccable timing when it comes to interrupting.
Yeah.
It's alright.
It's okay. Harriet called out from the dining room. Dinner's ready. It's simple countryside cooking, but it's definitely better than what they serve at those fancy restaurants out there. Before they knew it, the table was covered with dishes. Mr. and Mrs. Holly were intently listening to David as he talked about his life in the music world. Their dinner continued late into the night. Why don't we go out for a walk, David? There's no pubs and neon lights around, only fields. But I guarantee it's the freshest air you'll ever breathe. David was indeed tired of talking and wanted to be alone with Susanna, so he agreed.
Hoping they'd show an image of like whatever they cooked.
David and Susanna went for a night stroll. As they walked along the path in the field, they could hear the sound of water flowing through the canal. The canal could be crossed over through a small bridge. David and Susanna leisurely walked over it. Susanna, I remember this place. It was in one of my nightmares. We were attacked by two men, and then they stabbed you, and you fell in the river. And now there's two men beyond the bridge, just like in my nightmare. They're getting closer. Do you think the King of the North sent them? In my nightmare, there were two men behind us as well. We had nowhere to run. Susanna, would you mind checking behind us?
That's not in my anime.
It's too dark to tell, but I don't think there's anyone there. At least that's different from the nightmare. Watch out, they're approaching us. The two men approached them, glaring at David. They pulled out knives and attempted to stab him.
Wow, so they're going for it.
David twisted his body, dodging the knife, and he grabbed the man's arm. The man spun in the air, falling square to the ground. Seeing this, the other man approached David more carefully, while the first one picked up his knife and got up again. Afraid for their lives, Susanna screamed. Help! Someone help us! Susanna, go call Mr. Holly.
More screams, yay.
I can't! There's two more men on the other side! It's like your nightmare! David shivered as he saw two more men running their way. The two assailants ran away the moment they noticed the two figures approaching. Been playing too much Elden Ring. Susanna turned towards the two men approaching them, who turned out to be Clark and Vince. Ooh.
Yep. Hey, you okay? Those guys had knives.
We're fine, thanks. For a while we thought you were with them.
Do we look like murderers to you? Don't answer that. We heard a scream, and we came running.
It could have turned real ugly real fast. I'm grateful. I mean it.
Would you mind telling us what brought that on? Those men were armed. We should inform the police.
I don't know what to say. They didn't say a word. They just took out their knives and assaulted us.
They must really have it in for you.
This is my first time in this town. I've never done anything that would make people hate me to death. Are you with the police?
Nah, I'm just curious. Maybe they just figured a couple walking alone in the night would be easy to mug. Anyway, be careful on your way back.
Susanna thanked Clark, holding David's hand tight as they left. Clark and Vince stayed there a while, making sure nothing else happened.
My gut tells me the purpose of our investigation is giving someone the info they need to find and kill David. We'd better find out more about our client before they take away our license.
Chief, could it be our client is related to those northern tribes, and that they believe David is a descendant of this Devil King? I mean, who else would want him dead?
There's no proof of that, but it might very well be, as much as I hope not.
David and Susanna returned to the Holly household. They did not mention the incident. The rest of the night was luckily uneventful.
How many floppies is this game on? Do I have to like switch floppies at one point?
So my understanding is the entire game is on a CD-ROM, and it does not come with any floppy disks, but you have to provide 3 of your own. I know one is like the main disc and one is the game disc. I don't know what each one is, but or like what their use is.
Wait.
But basically they start off blank and then the CD writes data to them.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask, like, what do you exactly do you mean? Like, you have to provide your own?
Goes against everything I understand, as far as don't copy that floppy.
David and Susanna woke up early in the morning and set off. Their car drove past the hills of Manchester towards Haworth. David, those men who attacked us were from the northern tribes. Their bloodline survived throughout history to this very day. So I might actually die if I don't become the Devil King, like King Hroth said. I don't know what to expect anymore. I'm going to keep you safe. I'll get in contact with friends of my mother's. They're sorcerers. They'll help us find the King of the North. Everything's gonna be fine once he's dead. Murder is wrong. I'd rather talk to the police about this. They're not going to believe you. If you mention anything about the Devil King or the King of the North, they're just going to send you to a psychiatric ward. It would be the end of Eleno Vision. Besides, the northern tribes aren't an army. We can take care of it ourselves. You know, there's 2 men who saved us. There's something off about them. Their timing was a little too perfect. I feel like I've seen them before. Yes, I have a feeling they've been following us for a while, but forget about them. You were so cool when you dodged that knife.
Really changing the subject.
Yeah. I surprised myself. I was never good in a brawl, not even as a kid. Maybe it's the power of the Devil King. It could be. If you have his power, you should be fine, even if the northern tribes attack you again.
Someone remind me who Susanna was. Was she also a band member or some random girl he met?
Who?
Susanna?
She became the manager of the main character's band after their manager conveniently passed away the day they were leaving to go on the tour.
Oh, like that. It was like the very beginning of the game. The character we don't even meet, I don't think. She just dies.
Yeah, she dies. Yeah.
I was in the stream at the beginning, so there's a lot of details.
That's a year ago.
I was just getting confused because how does Susanna, how much Susanna was already involved or something? That's right.
Yeah.
Been feeding us pills for a long while now.
David and Susanna finally reached Haworth late in the afternoon. There was no real town there. It was mostly a rural village with wild pastures used by farmers to raise their sheep. David's car followed a road that went through the wilderness, up and down the hills. So it definitely feels like we're getting the same information and visiting the same places, but like kind of differently, you know? Different circumstances.
Context.
So far, yeah. Eventually, they reached a small old fortress. Because I remember at some point on the alternate path, we reached a road that was like a bunch of farmland and it was blocked by sheep.
You also had to like run over a guy in our car.
Yeah. The car passed through a stone gate and then stopped. Susanna took out a key and unlocked the gate and stepped inside with David. The fuck was she doing with that? Oh! Okay, she's home. Mr. Lands is supposed to be here. Maybe he's out shopping. When you said you lived in the countryside, I was expecting a farmhouse, not a castle. Everything looks clean. Did anyone live in it? Mr. Lands and his wife look after it. They did some extra cleaning just for us. Let's go to the roof, David. The view there is fantastic. Susanna led David up the stairs to the rooftop. Look, prairie as far as the eye can see, not even a single tree. The northern tribes will never catch us by surprise.
It's bloodthirsty.
It's like a castle in the middle of nowhere. Come to think of it, Susanna, I think I've seen it before. Have you been to Haworth in the past? I remember now, it was one of my visions. King Hroth and Lafir were at the top of a castle. It wasn't just wilderness back then, though. There was a lot of green, fields and houses. It was very similar to this view. If this was actually the castle of King Hroth, then the so-called King of the North would be north from here. It could be Edinburgh, or even farther north. I just love how just fucking on board Susanna is with everything. She's along for the ride.
Yep.
Maybe King Hroth used his forbidden arts to flood the wilderness and turn them into lush fields. When you think about it, with modern technology, you can bring water to a desert and make it arable. If you were to become the Devil King, you could use the forbidden arts to cover the world with green.
Brush with his paintbrush.
Not even King Hroth had that kind of power. Now that we're safe, I suddenly feel tired. Is there a room where I can lie down? Oh, I'm so sorry. We've been driving all morning. I should have noticed you'd be tired. My room should be ready for use.
Never good when we go to sleep.
Susanna guided David to her room. It was clean and decorated with flowers. David laid on the bed without even undressing. Meanwhile, Susanna went downstairs to get their luggage. He did not notice falling asleep, but he was approached by voices coming from outside the window. Warily, he got up, approaching the window. He couldn't believe his eyes. There was a mob of peasants carrying swords, spears, and other weapons. Some were shooting arrows, but the shooters was too far away for them to reach him. A man, fully dressed for battle, shouted at David. We told you never to come back to the castle. Why have you returned? The King of the North will be upon us soon. If you won't leave before he's here, he'll kill us all. The King of the North used his power to subjugate the land. Your magic will work. Look, it's all a barren wasteland now. We chose to live here nonetheless, because we didn't want to fight. Leave. Hurry. The peasants surrounding the castle were all shouting at him. David was unable to reply. Then, he heard a voice coming from behind him.
Who's our homie?
No. Oh.
David turned around. There was a large man wielding a sword.
Oh wait, who's in charge of King of North then?
You can be the King of the North.
So you're the one who has inherited the blood of the Devil King. I am the King of North.
The King of the North? How did you come here?
With my magical prowess? How are you supposed to say that? Prowess?
Yeah.
How do you keep getting quieter and quieter every time you speak into your mic, bro?
Oh. Is this better? I am able to go to anywhere I want. I wish to test your skills, but it seems that will soon be upon you.
You guys got instant transmission.
Oh snap.
I keep hearing that we're supposed to fight. Well, I don't care about this nonsense. Can't we just lay these old grudges to rest?
If the Devil King is revived from your blood, my own bloodline will be severed, and I shall be erased from existence. If you truly wish to end this ancient grudge, you must cut off your bloodline. Is she talking on my dick?
I can't use magic like you do, but the power of the Devil King always emerges to save me. There's no point in fighting.
If the Devil King is reborn, I will stand no chance. I must kill you now, before it is too late.
The King of the North pointed his sword at David and chanted a spell.
You will Wi-Fi need you.
David collapsed on the floor, writhing in pain while holding his head.
Begone, Devil King. You must have thought I could wait. You must have thought that I would fight with my sword, but you should have known I could cast spells. By my power, the blood of the man called David shall boil. Let the blood of the Devil King be purged from the world.
My body burns.
It is almost over. Rested. What? Oops. Curses! It must have wit Susanna.
David felt something cold touching his face, but his entire body was burning, and his head felt like it was splitting apart. David, hang in there! Susanna was wiping David's head with a towel. Hearing the scream, he was joined by a man and a woman shortly after. Mr. Lands, I think he has a fever. He needs medicine. The man hurried downstairs. There was nothing wrong with him, but all of a sudden he has a fever. Could it be a spell? Miss Emily, please bring me some Chamonix.
What?
Chamonix? The sorceress water. Does that mean Mr. David is... yes, I'll fetch it right away. Emily went downstairs just as Mr. Lands made his return. This is you, Andrew.
I'm glad I brought this medicine kit, thinking you might stay here for a while. Here, this should bring his fever down.
Susanna tried giving David his medicine, but he was gritting his teeth from the pain and wouldn't take it. Emily returned, gasping for breath. She brought a small bottle filled with liquid.
Susanna, are these symptoms?
This is the Chamonix water your mother made. It's a little old, but it was kept safely in the basement's medicine cabinet. Susanna poured water from the bottle onto a towel. This is great pouring water onto a towel sound. Then she began to wipe David's body. David's pain seemed to ease up. He opened his mouth, gasping for air. I think he's safe now. David must be hit by a northern spell. I agree. Chamonix water is only so effective against northern sorcery. We need to find out the identity of the King of the North before they try to kill him again.
The dark sorcerers are gathering tonight, but they found no information about the King of the North. I'm afraid we won't be able to find him for the time being.
God, I love this game. There's still hope. The client of those detectives who have been following me should be of the northern tribes. If we can catch them and interrogate them, we may be able to find some clues. David called out Susanna's name as he gasped for air. Susanna hurried to his side as he was regaining consciousness. Susanna, I'm alive. David, you're awake. Oh, I'm so glad. I had another nightmare. The King of the North was there. I thought I'd die for real this time. The King? David, you saw the King of the North? Yeah, and I hope I never see him again. I'll never forget his face. He tried to kill me with a spell. The King of the North himself can use magic. We never knew about that. So the King of the North of this era is a sorcerer.
If he truly is a sorcerer, he'd never show himself openly. Still, he should have other mages under his command. We must find one of them.
They probably call themselves the Mages of the North. We should focus our searches on the most famous mages of England. Susanna, who are these people? Oh, I haven't introduced them yet. These are Mr. and Mrs. Lands. They were out for groceries when we arrived. My name is David. I'm sorry to have caused you this much trouble. After exchanging greetings, David felt tired once again and closed his eyes. Oh no, quickly falling asleep. David, no! David, no!
Insomniac.
Susanna lit a candle. The sun went down, and it was dark outside. Mr. and Mrs. Lands left the room, but Susanna stayed with David. Oh, we've seen this place.
There's fortune tellers about it, I think.
It was a dark night, and there was no illumination in the wilderness. The few stars in the city cast the shadow of the castle on the ground, where Clark and Vince were lurking. Are you really going inside the castle, Chief? This is trespassing, you know.
It's only trespassing if you're caught. 3 cars went inside the castle. Don't you want to know what's going on?
Is that true in your experience, Andrew? Is it only trespassing if you're caught?
I mean, I guess so. You're not caught, who knows?
Well, yeah, I guess. One thing's for sure, it's not Eleno Vision. I saw a middle-aged couple. Definitely not a part of David's music circle.
There's no electricity, so it's only oil lamps and candles in there. At the very least, they won't be able to see my face clearly.
The client told us not to go inside, though. There's definitely something bad going on, and you heard what our colleagues said about them.
Think about it. The client is a fortune teller, and they're willing to spend a ton of money on this investigation. That means there's a mastermind behind us. We've come this far. I'm going in there. You stay here and wait for me.
I'm going in.
Wait here? Alone in the dark? No way. I'd rather come with you, but let's not go in too deep. The castle gates were not locked, so Clark and Vince could enter without issue. Candles were lit over the corridor walls, so they did not need to turn on their flashlights. There's no candles in the other corridors. Maybe this is where they went through.
There's only one common room. No point in lighting candles if you're not going that way.
Clark and Vince turned right, then left. Eventually, they reached a closed door.
I don't think there's anyone inside. Let's open it. Be ready to run in case there's someone in there.
Clark pushed the door gently. It was not locked, but it made a loud creaking noise.
I think it leads to the basement. The candles are lit, so someone's been down there. Let's go.
Clark and Vince followed the stairs down. The basement was large, filled with objects. At the end of the path, they could see a door illuminated by candles. Clark stopped in front of the door. He took a deep breath, then he opened it, cautiously. Beyond the door was a dark room, with a single lit candle. Clark made his way inside. Right then, Clark and Vince were hit on the head with a stick. They fell to the floor.
A big stick.
Meanwhile, David had been nursed back by Susanna. As they sat, lit by a lit candle, they talked about the King of the North. I'm really glad you're feeling better now. I had no idea the King of the North could use magic. Can a spell truly kill a man? I definitely was in pain, but I thought it was just another one of my nightmares. Some spells are similar to hypnosis, but they can be cast on someone from a distance. They require great concentration, so the King of the North must be spent right now. I was having already too many nightmares due to the blood of King Harath. I'm not sure if I can take it if the King of the North is going to give me nightmares as well. If it's impossible to run away from it, maybe you should become the Double King after all.
Always encouraging us to, better ourselves here.
Yeah. That would mean killing people from the northern tribes. That would make me a murderer. I'd have to spend the rest of my life on the run from police. Calm down, David. Being agitated isn't good for your health. Right then, Emily came into the room. She approached Susanna and whispered into her ear. The sorcerers, friends of my mother, have gathered. David, come with us. You can talk to them. You may be able to learn something about the power of magic. I'll come since you asked, but I'm not sure I'd like to become a sorcerer.
Dude, the opportunity to learn magic, I'm totally game.
I'm only an apprentice, but if you became the Devil King, you'd be the leader of all dark sorcerers. Don't let the name fool you. They're all good people.
Not suspicious at all.
Susanna held David's hand and led him downstairs. They walked through a dark corridor, lit only by candles, and reached the basement. As soon as they walked through the door, 4 men and 1 woman bowed to David. They were not greeting him as the lead vocalist of Eleno Vision, but as the Devil King.
Devil King.
Susanna approached the table and placed the table place in the middle of the room, and the sorcerers gathered around it. David, this is Thomas Simon.
He's voicing these guys.
This is his wife, Lisa. These are Burroughs and Revis. And this is Greg. Each one of them has earned the title of Dark Sorcerer. I guess for these guys, just one of you wants to just be like, woo, me. Go for it.
Okay.
My name is David. I'm sorry you had to come all this way here just for me. What?
Guess he's gonna speak some more.
Oh, I see. Wait. Oh, okay. Must be a bug.
The Dark Sorcerers live to assist the Devil King. Don't worry about it, David. Now let the meeting begin. Lisa spoke.
Wait, did somebody do Lisa already, or I'm getting confused?
No,
with
this
These
is
are all
the
new
first ones.
characters.
Okay. David, do you recognize this man in this picture? Have you seen him in one of your dreams?
David looked at the photo. He had never seen him before.
This is the man who hired these detectives to follow you and your colleagues during your tour of Europe.
Burroughs spoke.
Mr. Lance told us about how the King of the North cast a terrible spell upon you. How did that happen? Where did he come from?
Well, in my nightmare, the castle was surrounded by armed peasants, yelling at me to leave. And then, the King of the North appeared in my room.
He must have sent you that nightmare himself, in order to appear before you and cast his spell. So, the nightmare warding ring was ineffective against the King of the North. Oh, he had a magic ring?
Greg spoke. What if the next time he sends another nightmare? Wait, on. I've decided this man's gonna be Wimplo. What if next time he sends another nightmare, we also enter the dream world and fight him?
Oh, you know, like the Nightmare on Elm Street. There's no guarantee we can defeat him with our magic. If we were to lose, David's life would be forfeit.
The King of the North sent a nightmare, entered it, and then cast a spell from within. None of us are capable of similar feat. That is, unless David were to become the Devil King.
Our only choice is to find the King of the North and kill him with our weapons. First, we must interrogate those detectives we captured and find out where their client is.
You bring out your British accent there, buddy?
I have very few accents.
They've been captured. Have they said the name of their client?
Oh, I guess I should do Thomas because, yeah, Andrew did too. I'm writing down a little bit, so just like...
Oh, okay, awesome.
I'm showing my name. Look like pictures.
Yeah. They wouldn't say, not even the truth serum. Oh, let me do a high pitch on this guy. They could be the descendant of the northern tribes. Our only hope is to borrow the power of Devil King and cast a spell to find out.
I'm no sorcerer. I can't cast any spells. I've only ever had nightmares and visions. Susanna, help me out here. It'll be fine. Greg, bring them here. Greg approached a wardrobe in the corner of the room and opened his door. He pulled out Clark and Vince, whose hands were tied behind their backs, and brought them over. I had a feeling it would be you lot. Why won't you tell us the name of your client? This is a matter of life and death for us.
Is this how you repay us for saving your asses? A detective never reveals the name of his client. I'm a professional. Not a professional trespasser, though.
I'm willing to kill you to find out. We could easily find out using the powers of the Devil King, but that would leave you crippled for life.
Oh.
The Devil King, huh? We've been hearing that name a lot, but we still don't know who that is. How about you introduce us? I'm telling you, we know nothing about this King of the North, or the Devil King business.
Chief, I think she's serious. I don't want the Devil King to curse me. I don't know anything about them, but you know the client. Just tell them.
Shut the hell up. I'll never betray a client. It's a matter of pride. Go ahead and kill me if you want. And don't bother with truth serums. I'm trained to resist them.
David, we need your help. Please, drink this. It's a sleeping medicine. Once your blood has been quelled, I'll use a spell to draw out the power of the Devil King and get everything we need to know from them. What the fuck, lady? You mean you can use magic? Susanna, did you get this close to me because of the blood that flows in my veins?
Yes.
No, I got close to you because I love you. I've had dreams about you ever since I was born. I've loved you all of my life. The only reason I've been hiding the truth was to protect you from the King of the North. Besides, what if I told you about the Devil King during our first meeting? You would have thought I was crazy and stayed away from me. Please, you have to trust me. Drink this. In truth, David was not particularly surprised by the revelation. It was true that if not for Susanna, he would have been killed by the King of the North, or possibly sent to a psychiatric ward. However, he knew that using the spell to force the truth out of the detectives would cripple them, or even kill them outright. They're part of the northern tribes. King Hroth said that the sight of their blood would awaken the Devil King. You wouldn't have to fear the King of the North any longer. David believed Susanna's words, but the idea of killing the detectives made him hesitate.
Alright, here's a save spot.
Save state.
Alright, so what are we thinking here?
Yeah, what do we want to do first?
My mind was like, well, what I want to do first is kill him and see what happens. But I'm thinking like we've been taking pills the whole game. I don't know if it's like what direction the best ending is going to come from. I mean, we're going to see all the endings anyway, but whatever. Go ahead.
For me, I feel like second choice would be the bad ending route, like because he never get the truth out of him. I was like, oh well, I guess we're all gonna die. I feel like second one would be the bad ending route.
There's still more potential stuff. What are you leaning towards, Kevin?
I kind of want to take the pills.
We've always been taking pills. The pills have always helped.
Yeah, the pills have done no wrong.
Yeah, sure. Give me these pills.
Oh, I'm sure you're speaking from your own experience.
Oh,
I can. Fucking miracle pills I had a couple weeks ago.
We're getting dark here.
Look, a little bit of drugs never hurt anybody. He decided to take Susanna's pills. Oh, wait. Okay. Oh no! They're pills that make you read data from the CD-ROM.
Let me hear a bit. So there's 4 endings left, so that means there's going to be probably one more decision point.
On each route, I would assume.
If it splits that evenly.
Yeah, that's true. I think if there's 4 endings, then I think there's 2 per each route. Like, it would have to be. If one of the routes here split twice, then we'd have an odd number of endings. Is that correct?
There's not necessarily only 2 choices. You could get a split that's 3. Like, one of these could just go to one end.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I think we've always had binary choices.
Mm-hmm.
Keep into the week. Bayonetta 3 was released this week.
And fucking Helena Taylor did a speed run to just become the main character of the internet.
Because, holy crap, she was digging herself deeper and deeper into the grave. Like, yeah, it just every time she tweets, it gets worse and worse.
Yeah. I mean, that's just good life advice. Just don't tweet.
Yeah,
every time you tweet, your life gets worse.
It's like, speaking of that.
Oh, yeah, speaking of that.
Twitter's gotten very musky all of a sudden.
Elon Musk finalized his purchase of Twitter.
And he's speed running on firing employees because apparently there's details on regarding like after November 1st, like those team employees are supposed to get some stocks, but he's trying to fire those employees who could get a stock. There's more.
He also mocked 2 of the employees he fired on Twitter.
You mean the CEO and CFO?
I know their names were Ligma and Johnson.
Those 2 people weren't actually employees.
Okay.
Also, I'll continue the story later, but I got a bit of an inside story.
Oh boy. There's a good picture here. I love the silhouetted. Yeah, that's stylish. Clark and Vince gasped as David took the pills.
This is another reason why I think this is going to be a bad route.
It's very morally bad. Chief, they're actually doing the sorcery stuff. What's going to happen to us?
It's just hypnosis. When they chant their spells, think of something else and you'll be fine. Hypnosis is especially effective when you're scared. At any rate, you don't actually know anything. You'll be fine.
Under the effects of the pills, David's consciousness faded. Then, Susanna turned to Clark and Vince. We're ready to summon the power of the Devil King. You will die the moment I chant the spell. Are you going to tell us about your client or not?
You think I'm gonna fall for this bullshit? Go ahead and do your magic trick. See if I care.
Is that what Susanna's voice is supposed to be?
Yeah.
Susanna turned towards David and started chanting the spell. Vince covered his ears. Then, David opened his eyes, staring at Clark and Vince. Susanna was still chanting.
Oh god.
Ah! My body! It burns! My hands! My legs! I can't move!
What the hell? This isn't hypnosis! Vince, run! Ah! It burns!
Clark! What is the client's name? You will tell us his address. The Devil King orders you.
I'll never tell. What kind of detective would I be if I told you John Jeff's name?
Alright.
That's a great name. Johnny boy.
What does Jeffs do? Where is he?
I'm burning. Help! I don't know that Jeff's a fortune teller. I can't tell you that he works in the back of the Gucci store on Bond Street.
What the hell, man? What the hell?
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
I don't know anything. Help! Blood! Blood on my hands! My face! It won't stop pouring out. I'll tell you everything I know. Just make it stop.
My blood's gushing out! Help! I'll tell you about the client, please!
Damn it, are we gonna make that into sound bit?
The clothes of Clark and Vince were soaked red. Blood was overflowing from their shoes, spilling onto the floor.
Oh,
As
shit.
the blood flowed from the top of their heads, they looked like red ogres of folklore. They turned to look at one another and collapsed, writhing in agony. Clark and Vince were literally drowning in a pool of their own blood. Eventually, not even a drop of blood was left in their veins. In death, they had found the relief they longed for.
Almost person actor voice. For now.
For now, we'll return to this route. Excluding Susanna and the unconscious David, the other sorcerers in the room had retreated into a corner, terrified.
Fuck, this is what you wanted. What the fuck?
Yeah. They're dead. What frightens you so? You can't call yourself dark sorcerers and be afraid of a little blood.
Yeah, fair enough.
Susanna scolded Mr. and Mrs. Lands. Then she turned to David and chanted a spell to wake him up. David, look at the floor. Your power has drained the blood out of them. If they are with the northern tribes, the sight of their blood will awaken the power of the Devil King. David nodded and turned towards the floor.
Let the body hit the floor. Let the body hit the floor.
They're dead! Who could do such a terrible thing? When he realized that everyone was staring at him, he began to scream in a panic. You mean to say that I did it? There's no way! I'd never kill someone. I'd never do something so terrible.
Bitch, you did it!
This is but a small portion of the power that lies dormant in your blood. If you tapped into the full power of the Devil King, you could change the world. I don't want it! I never wanted this horrible power. It's too late, David. Now that you've seen the blood of the northern tribes, the power of the Devil King will manifest itself. Then you'll be able to kill the King of the North. I'd rather he killed me than become a murderer. Please don't make me kill other people. Susanna, you knew this would happen. That's why you gave me those pills. You said you loved me, but all you really wanted was the power of the Devil King, didn't you? I'm a murderer. You tricked me into becoming one. What am I going to do now? What am I... Ah! David screamed, clutching his head before dropping to the floor, motionless. The sight of the two corpses in a pool of blood was too much for him. He had a mental breakdown and fainted. He's not used to these sights like we are. It must have been too much for him. Please, bring him to my room. He hasn't recovered from the King of the North spell. He'll feel better after a good night's sleep. By then, the power of the Devil King will have manifested itself. What do we do about their client, this Jeff's? Oh. He must not know about the King of the North. He probably knows about me, as well as about Mr. and Mrs. Lands. We'll stay here while the rest of you go capture him. He might run away once he realizes he can't get in contact with the detectives. We must go now. Take care of David while we're gone.
Will do. I'll keep watch from the roof with a rifle. I won't let anyone approach before you're back.
Greg and the others left in a car.
Bye, Greg. How long does it take to go the distances that these people have gone in this game thus far?
Don't worry about it. Like, they're literally dark sorcerers, Andrew.
We had that one night where we just went to like every place you can go.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, I guess we did it all in an
In
hour or
France.
something.
What are you implying?
The traffic there, man.
France is smaller than a lot of states.
Yeah, so is Korea, actually.
Helped by Lands, Susanna brought David back to her room. They laid him on the bed, and he immediately fell asleep. David was sleeping like a corpse. Mr. and Mrs. Lands went home to prepare for their guard duty. Susanna also left the room. She was gathering the tools she needed to cast a spell that would protect David from the King of the North. After a while, David came to his senses. He was alone in the room. He looked around. The room was illuminated by candles. This is Susanna's room, so I was sleeping. But what about those corpses? Was it another nightmare? Susanna's a dark sorceress. She killed them to revive the blood of the Devil King in my veins. Those two detectives and their clients are northern tribesmen. Nightmare or not, something's about to happen. I must talk to Susanna. If she really is a dark sorceress, then... David felt uneasy about seeing Susanna. The nightmare caused him to feel different about her.
Has his unswavering trust finally been severed?
He lit a lamp and walked out of the room. He had not learned the layout of the castle yet. He went downstairs, entering the dining room.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah?
You should add a hydrate to one of these buttons. So like you could use some hydrate, yeah. Like you could use some water, actually.
Take a swig.
I've seen a streamer have like a pump and like a nozzle that like just sprays them with water whenever somebody presses the hydrate button.
Wow.
Like it's to just like hit them with water, and maybe they're prepared for it, maybe they're not. You know?
Spray him like a plant.
Yeah. The candles in the dining room were lit, but Susanna was not there. I imagine around 11 I'm probably going to take a break to refill my water.
Yeah, you sound like you're getting dried up there a little bit with all the talking.
He returned to the corridor. For some reason, he recalled his nightmare. In my dream, at the end of the corridor, there was another path to the right. As if to confirm whether it was merely a dream, David walked down the corridor. Then he saw a light coming from his right. The moment he turned right, he felt as if he was back in his nightmare. Candles were lit along the walls. At the end of the corridor was a door, the same door he saw in his nightmare. In my nightmare, beyond that door there were stairs that led to the basement. Am I still dreaming? David ran down the corridor and stopped in front of the door. Then he opened it. As he feared, there were stairs that led to a basement, lit by candles. David walked down the stairs.
Hey, a lot of booze down there.
Yeah. When he reached the door, he stopped to think. If this is like my nightmare, beyond this door would be 2 men, lying in a pool of blood, Susanna and the sorcerers. David was afraid to open the door. He would rather go back, but something compelled him to see the truth with his own eyes.
Oh. Alright, what are we going with? I'm feeling like we just keep doing the action rather
I think
than
we open the door.
walking back on things.
Yeah, he decided to gently open the door.
Fling it open.
He opened the door.
I love the cut version of this.
It was just like his nightmare. The floor was covered in blood, which was wetting David's feet. At the center of the grisly pool were the corpses of 2 men. Unlike his nightmare, neither Susanna nor the sorcerers were present. Instead, there was a young man standing beside the corpses. What?
Yep. You want to play him or someone else?
This might be Jihun.
Alright. Oh, it's like, yeah, guess it. Davey, those people who you killed were not Northern tribesmen. The Devil King must witness the blood of the Northern tribes.
Who is he? David thought. He knows about Northern tribes. Could he be the Devil King? What? Are you a dark sorcerer? Or are you the Devil King?
Me? The Devil King? Surely you must know he lurks in your veins, waiting to witness the blood of the Northern tribes. What are you afraid of? How could you cry out the mere sight of commoner's blood?
That happened in a dream, David thought. Nobody else should know about it, so this must be another dream. This is a dream, isn't it? There's only 2 men who always torment me in my dreams. The King of the North and the Double King. If you're not the Double King, then you must be the King of the North.
I am not the King of North either. You're trying to convince yourself you are inside a nightmare because you have killed 2 men. But I assure you, this is reality. Touch the grass on their corpses. Taste their blood. Face the truth.
Who are you? Show yourself.
Can you not tell? I am the man who longs to acquire the power of Devil King in order to kill the King of North and live happily ever after with Susanna. I am David.
You are David? Quit screwing around. Susanna loves me, and I love her. Why do you want to make her happy?
Do you really love her as you claim you do? You do not feel the love for Susanna the sorceress, but I am you. I am the David who can love Susanna unconditionally.
Got to get our persona.
Oh shit!
The man turned towards David. David looked at the man's face. He tried to speak, but no words would leave his mouth. That is because the man's face was the same face he always saw in the mirror.
I am David. I am thou. Or thou art. Unless a pathetic Harley David disappears, Eleno Vision is gonna disband.
Yeah, we're definitely looking into the eyes of our shadow self.
No, Eleno Vision, no!
No!
Not the Eleno Vision.
You're David, then who am I?
You are David, and I'm David. The only difference is that I'll never stop loving Susanna, while your love for her is dying down. What the fuck?
The other David approached him, holding a knife. David was terrified by his other self. He tried to run away, but his legs would not move.
Yeah, this is bad, ain't it?
The other David raised the knife. Paralyzed by fear, David closed his eyes and screamed. Then he heard Susanna's voice coming from far away. Susanna, help me! David, wake up! David felt his body being shaken and opened his eyes. It was Susanna. I'm in bed, David thought. It was another dream.
A lot of this game is in dreams.
All the good stuff. There's nothing to fear now, David. We did what we had to survive. He didn't understand the meaning of Susanna's words. What do you mean by what we had to do? We killed the 2 detectives. We had no other choice if we wanted to awaken the power of the Devil King. So it wasn't a nightmare. But Susanna, those 2 were not Northern tribesmen. What? They weren't? It's going to be alright. Greg and the others captured their client, Jeffs. He's in the basement. He is definitely a Northern tribesman. Come on, let's go see him. Don't tell me that you want to kill him as well. Well, I don't want to kill anyone else. Susanna, let's run away together. We could go to Japan. Surely the King of the North can't reach us there. No, he'd never stop hunting us. We need to kill him. If we miss this chance, our children would never be safe. Again, we met like 2 weeks ago.
They're jumping ahead in the relationship.
I saw it in my dream. The Devil King will kill me and reincarnate as another David. How could you try to revive him, knowing that I'll be gone? You saw it in a dream? My mother never said anything about that. When the blood of the Devil King is revived, you'll obtain his power. That's it. Now come. No, I won't. I don't want to become a murderer. Besides, if I see the blood of the Northern tribesmen, I'll become the Devil King. I'll stop being me. You're coming with me, David. They're all waiting for you. Susanna pulled David out of the room. The corridor was bright, as if the night had passed. Why do you want me to kill people, Susanna? You never loved me, did you? You only wanted the power of the Devil King. I'm not coming with you. David shook Susanna off and fled in the direction opposite to the basement. He heard Susanna calling out to him, but she did not seem to be following him. David ran down the hallway. He kept running, trying to reach the wall that he could see ahead. However, he was not getting any closer to it, as if he were simply stomping his feet on the spot. He was getting tired. He stopped running and looked back. Nobody was chasing him. He made his way back and stopped, dumbfounded. The wall he had been trying so hard to reach was right in front of him. There was a door in it. David pushed the door without hesitation. With a creaking noise, it opened. When he saw the room, he was left speechless. It was the same room he had been sleeping in. Every item, every piece of furniture was in the same place. Even his own luggage was there. As if sleepwalking, he made his way inside. When I left the room, Susanna didn't chase me, David thought. Maybe I'm under the effects of a hypnotic spell. I ran so much, but I'm back where I started. David felt a presence and turned towards the entrance. It was dark outside the room, with only candles breaking the darkness. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning lit up the corridor, a sound so loud that it felt like the heavens themselves had split. Then, there was a figure in front of the entrance.
I have no idea who the hell is this.
Alright. David, I have come for you. Come into the basement and witness the blood of the man.
As the lightnings kept flashing, David was able to see the face of the man. It was the other David, the one he met in the basement.
Okay.
If you're the real David, then why don't you go to the basement? Why do I have to go? Wah!
Because there should not be two Davids. Only by witnessing the blood of Northern Tribes will we become one. If you do not do so, then you must vanish.
His other self approached him, brandishing a knife. David tried to dodge the knife, but its aim was true. It pierced his heart. No sound effect.
Oh, we'll make it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. That's from the game. David's scream echoed throughout the room.
Hit a daily double.
Yeah, Gypsy, we played this game a year ago. And it's been living rent-free in our head since last Halloween.
Rent-free.
So
I'll say the Dark Star.
The sound alert.
Colors all the time.
Yeah. But there was a route we never took, so we're going back this year to do it. Then he opened his eyes. It was another nightmare, David thought. Is this reality, or am I still dreaming? Dude, we are on some Inception shit right now. Like, how many layers deep are we?
Green.
Yeah. I'm lost. I've lost count. He was losing his mind thinking about it. He decided to lie on the bed and close his eyes. No, you need to stop. Trying to calm down.
Go to another tree.
Oh.
Hey.
Well, King looked at me. You are trying to kill one of my tribesmen. My curses may have failed, but now that I'm here, I shall run my sword through your heart.
The King of the North appeared in his room. He approached David, brandishing his sword. David stood up, looking for a chance to... Oh my god. Looking for a chance to flee. When the King of the North had lowered his guard, he made his move.
David,
Too close.
But then, he heard King Taroth's voice inside his head.
Ah, shit, I'm closing 2 people now. Alright, here we go. You cannot defy fate, David. If you wish to defeat the King of North, you must witness the blood of Northern Tribe. Without the power of Devil King, the King of North will kill you. The one who stands before you is but a shadow. Focus your eye on the sword and he will not be able to kill you. Go to the basement. Susanna is waiting for you. Hurry!
But wait, Susanna bad. Oh. The King of the North aimed his sword at David's chest. At the last moment, he was able to dodge the strike. Then he tackled his assailant.
Oh, snap.
Tackling a ghost sounds like a bad time. So that's how
Like,
you get your head rammed into a desk or something.
Working Scooby-Doo.
He had expected some kind of impact, but the King of the North must have been an illusion. No shit. As he passed through him, tumbling into the corridor. In a frenzy, he hurried down the stairs.
Hey, coffee, okay.
Fearing that a sword could pierce his back at any moment, he kept running down the corridor. At the end, he turned right. At the end, he turned right and reached the door at the end, where he stopped.
Hey man, Ghost Train, you can suplex Ghost Train, okay?
That's true.
As in the lore of whatever media you're reading, I guess.
It's the door that leads to the basement, David thought. Did the Devil King lead me here? No, I can't open it. When he turned around, intent on going back, he saw a knife right before his eyes.
You come this far, why turn back? You must go to the basement, David. Do it, or I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I swear that at least one of these characters should do it.
David shook off the knife, pushing his other self away, and ran away. He could think of nothing else. He had to run. As he...
He's just chilling, bro. The King of the North is just chilling down there.
As he approached the dining room, he saw the King of the North, sword in hand, coming down the stairs.
Hello there.
And so David ran. He kept running. Eventually, he reached the door that led to the courtyard. He opened the door and jumped outside without even stopping to look.
Okay, it's loading.
Honestly, more games need to have just like whooshy synth, like loading sounds in them. This is an aesthetic that really should have taken off.
My personal issue is that sometimes, like, you can't tell if it's actually being loaded properly or actually got bugged and then it's stuck. That's my only issue with that kind
Or
of
if the loading screens are fake and actually add load time, like Soul Hackers did.
Oh.
I don't know the reference.
As a recent
I
game.
don't yet. I'm getting it soon. I'm waiting until I beat Persona 5, then I'm getting it.
Oh, snap.
It was dark outside the castle, stars dotting the sky. David looked around, and his heart almost gave out from the shock. This isn't the garden, he thought. It's the same town from my nightmares.
Oh, God.
Either I'm dreaming, or this is an illusion created by magic.
Fortune Teller Alley.
On the verge of a mental breakdown, David screamed at the empty town. Oh, I just unlocked a memory. Remember last year we played this, and I think it was like this kind of backdrop, and we had the option to go right or left, and we chose one, and then we had an option to go up or down or straight.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was a locked memory right there. Oh,
like
God.
up, like just go up.
Yeah. Start digging. As if to respond to his cry, a terrifying, murderous intent swept over him. David was shivering, as if he'd been bathed in cold water. He could not stop there. He had to keep running through the town before the source of that bloodlust reached him. He knew the way, as he had been to this town multiple times in his nightmares. If I go this way, the path turns to the left, then it should go downhill. Then if I turn right, and I take the next left downhill, I should get to a road where you can see the castle. If it's like my nightmares, I should be able to reach the castle. The castle. Come to think of it, it was very similar to Susanna's castle.
What in circles again?
Forgetting about the threat hunting him, David ran through the town from his memories. Then across the wilderness, he could see the castle in the distance. What the fuck are we doing? Was the castle from my nightmares Susanna's castle? Was I fated to come here? The moment he stepped into a wilderness, David felt dizzy.
do appreciate how much this game keeps me guessing, because I really have no idea where this is gonna go.
When do we have a running count of how many times, how many separate dreams we've been in so far? I feel like that's something we should have done.
That's number 4.
Yeah, we're on like 4 or 5, I think. When he opened his eyes, David was standing in front of Susanna's room. Being a rock band is complicated, dude. You're telling me. I feel bad you missed all the rock band stuff. I don't know if we're gonna get any more of it.
Oh, we
went on a
you
trip,
missed
so
the best one.
yeah,
We're
we're away from them now.
can we? Oh, Gypsy must have missed the one where like the band party just became some crazy ass murder party or something.
Yeah. David was standing in front of Susanna's room. He had been transported from the wilderness to the castle in an instant.
Oh, he's learned instantaneous transmission now.
Yeah.
It's the power of the Devil King.
Sweet.
He opened the door and he found Susanna there. I've been waiting for you, David. Come on, we have to go to the basement. Everyone's worried because you've been taking so long. Hurry, David. You must witness the blood of that man before the Star of Darkness leaves the planet. There we go. 1 Star of Darkness. Susanna grasped his hand tightly. Enough of this. I don't want to kill anyone.
We're gonna run away again?
All of a sudden, the other David appeared at his side.
Susanna, there's no choice. You must kill the other David. There cannot be 2 David.
The other David approached him, brandishing a knife.
Ew.
Let go of me, I must run. If I don't run, he's going to kill me. David tried to pry Susanna's fingers open, but they were stiff as iron and would not budge.
Damn, Susanna's a robot.
The other David raised the knife. Is this 3? So we've gone up a layer, right?
Oh my god.
Okay, before he could feel any pain, everything went dark. Did he faint before the knife struck him? He was falling into an abyss of pure darkness. David was lying in a hospital bed. Susanna was at his side. Tell me, doctor, will he get any better? Susanna was talking to a doctor from the mental hospital David had been recovering in. She had been taking care of him all this time. You say he's been dreaming for a month now. Yeah, it seems about right. That tracks. What's going to happen to him? The doctor spoke. Andrew, be a doctor.
You can see from this EEG, his brain activity is abnormal. See how many ripples there are? His brainwaves are a complete disarray. This is the kind of pattern caused by fear, a nightmare perhaps, but normally the shock would wake you up instantly. It's as if he's secluded himself in the dream world in order to escape from reality. Love this guy's hair.
Sometimes celebrities can't cope with their popularity. Maybe he just wants to be alone.
Though these violent brainwaves are not desirable, the silver lining is that even in the worst case scenario, he won't fall into a vegetative state.
Doctor, is he able to hear me while he sleeps?
While his EEG is calm, he is sound asleep and he won't be able to hear you. He should be able to hear you when his brainwaves are spiking. I must inform you, however, that it will only be a fleeting memory to him. I understand how you feel, Miss Susanna, but please, take care of yourself as well. This kind of condition requires a lot of time and patience.
With that, the doctor left. Alone with David, Susanna moved closer to his ear and spoke to him, caressing her belly. Oh boy.
What?
David, our baby's growing well. Please, wake up soon. I want the three of us to live together. David did not react, but Susanna felt like she heard a voice. And so my bloodline shall carry over. Well done, Susanna. I shall return to the Star of Darkness and rest. I look forward to my return 300 years from now. It's the voice of King Roth. Once he returns to the Star of Darkness, David will wake up. I'm sure of it. Excited for David's imminent awakening, Susanna started replying to the pile of letters the fan sent David during his stay at the hospital. Press any key to start reading data from CD-ROM.
Any key. Oh, whoops, wrong key.
Where's the any key? I don't see keys that says any.
Alt F4.
Also, this is actually a big one for the event of the week. It actually happened today. About 150 people died of a...
yeah, I saw that. It's crazy.
That's what I mean, I don't know. People just need to chill when it comes to
places and large crowds.
Yeah. Do you know what we're referring to, Kevin?
I think I saw a headline. It was some like Halloween party in...
Yes, that is the one.
I want to say like China or something?
No, it's
South Korea.
Oh, it was Korea? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Itaewon area is actually known to be like the multicultural area. Like bunch of... I went there when I went there first time in like 20 years. Yeah, you see a bunch of like Middle Eastern restaurant and some... No, I'm sorry. Middle Eastern... They're actually both business and tourists and other culture. I haven't seen anything like, say, Russian or anything like that, but yes. It's kind of that area. It's like a party area for sure. Like,
yeah, that's what I was reading about. It's a very party-hardy area.
Yeah. I stayed at a hotel located within Itaewon. Man, their wall is not a soundproof. It's thin, so you can hear what other people are doing in the next room. Oh, that was the ending.
I was just loading the credits. Holy shit. So that's similar to another ending we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let it play out.
We'll let it play out.
It's the same every time.
I'm going to go to the bathroom and refill my water and stuff. I'll just let it play out, though.
Good idea.
Oh, it's showing all the band members.
I'll be
back. They get jettisoned from the plot so hard.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me, like how some people actually die from that Black Friday sale at Best Buy. Like, people are just rushing to get the sale item.
I mean, so that whole crush thing, or whatever they describe it as, is like a very real thing. Like, when people get into large groupings like that,
yeah,
it is like, how to describe it? You're like a part of the group at that point, so it is very easy where, like, there's many high-profile incidents of this where, say, like, what was that? I think it was like a concert area.
Oh yeah,
or whatever, where it's like there was only the one-way in or out because like all the other doors were locked, so there's very minimal like passageway. So when you have people swarming into like a singular location like that, that's what fucking happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just bad planning and or way too many people. Like the area was not equipped to handle that many people.
Definitely not.
So it's sad that that happened.
It is. Oh, how can you? I mean, I don't want to go to the crowded area in the first place, but yeah, hearing this kind of stuff definitely doesn't help at all. definitely don't want to get involved in that kind of stuff.
I only go to like really open areas. If I can help it. Dream Woman. There's so many like credited characters.
But there are 2 Dream Old Men. What the hell?
What's a dream people? Dream Prisoner. There's a Dream Fortune Teller. Or did I miss that?
Mirrors.
Yep. Takes back to the title screen. So that ending was similar to another ending. Except in that other ending we weren't in a coma.
Oh yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody, you or Kevin, keep track of it. Like, I love to see the reverse upside down tree of this, like how this when the divergent happened and like all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, we made 2 saves so far, so we can go back to not opening the door to finish this, route, and then we had to go back to what I assumed was the correct, direction, which was not kill the detectives. They're effectively a secondary main character group in a way, because it's like kind of an ensemble. David's the protagonist. Susanna's always by his side. Then you always have the detectives kind of like watching, and then all the band members are kind of secondary characters. And this action music. I like this meaty kind of stuff. Oh! So, I can, while we're like this, I guess. Where's,
Alright, I'm back.
Anime Dungeon.
Oh my god.
There's no post-credits in this game, it just kind of dumps you, I think, back to the main menu. I'll just say, G, and I read part 1, I guess, of, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon or whatever?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
You read that, Kevin, I just want to say real quick, you hear that title.
Yeah.
What is the thought? Like, what do you think you're getting into when you read that?
I'm guessing harem anime.
That's not really what happens at all.
No,
he doesn't try to pick up any ladies. They just come to him, I guess. Loser male kind of like a Tenchi Muyo.
You're still describing a harem anime.
I guess.
Okay, at least I'll give it one credit is that type of harem anime that I don't like is like the protagonist just only thing he has to is breathe, like literally breathe, and then somehow he gets all the girls. But at least in the
thing too, baby.
He does have to fight a lot.
Yeah, I mean the guy actually tried to save the people surrounding him, and then he has a dream for sure, like it, and I can definitely see how a guy like that, like dreaming up to be a hero and then like doing all that kind of stuff. That's that definitely can attract some ladies or men depending how you dig. Like that kind of goes same for Sword Art Online, like how Kirito was the only one standing when the other people were like kind of in despair, and then like Kirito was trying to, he was doing everything he could to stay alive and find a way to out. That kind of thing. Yeah, I can see, other characters getting attracted to main character like that. I forgot which one was. Yeah, like the two level. Yeah, because it's a wordplay on the trouble and then two love, and then that character straight up like only thing he does is like he fall and then he trips, and then there's girl happen to be there, and then he grabs a skirt and somehow girls get half naked. And then somehow girls have a feeling for him. That's the shit that makes me want to pull my hair out. But yeah,
it does.
Can we go back to the game?
You're away just as I was starting to talk about that, but sure.
Sweet. Okay. All right.
Make your next decision.
Yeah. So we went back one step, one junction, and we are going to return to the room and wait for Susanna. Press any key.
Okay, we can talk. Yeah, we can
Yeah,
talk.
there you go.
The only thing I wanted to say about it was I read all of part 1. And I'm like, oh, there's a part 2, and it was like I had like when I played Kingdom Hearts 1,
Oh.
and then played Kingdom Hearts 2, and was completely lost and had no idea what was happening anymore.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Apparently, it's like an adaptation, and they like skipped like an entire plot.
Oh, speaking of that, I heard the same thing about the review of the world. So that's actually started from the light novel as well. And I was reading some comment, and apparently light novel goes super detailed. You thought that manga was deep covering all the world setting and stuff? No, apparently based on some comments I read, that the light novel goes unnecessarily gets super detailed on all of the stuff. It's like if you're into that kind of stuff, great. But like if you're not into that, yeah, it can be very tiring. That's what I heard. It can be both good and bad at the same time. That's what I heard.
I love exhaustive descriptions of things.
So yeah. If anything, yeah, maybe you should try to find the fan translation of the rebuild world, because it sounds like crazy detail. Like there was a one page of like where the main character went to the fancy restaurant, and there was a robot looking thing eating a food. And in the manga version, they just skim over, like they don't even talk about it. But apparently, in the light novel version, the character asked his AI companion, like, "Why is that robot eating food?" And then AI companion like 2-3 page worth of explaining why.
Oh my god.
Yeah, apparently that's how it is. Apparently.
So my contribution for the anime dungeon is recently I purchased on 4K Blu-ray Ghost in the Shell, the movie. And it's as good as I remember it being. It looks really nice in 4K. I fell asleep to it too, though, so I need to rewatch. I can't just watch something without just like falling asleep anymore.
I was
I truly become an adult.
The new Blade Runner.
Oh man!
I nodded off with the 20 whatever 48.
Yeah.
David decided to go back. He was afraid that his nightmare might become a reality if he entered the basement. I mean, yeah.
So we're evading the other David by doing this.
Yeah. He left in a hurry, as if to run away from the door, and made his way to the door that led to the courtyard. This might be the sorceress castle I saw in my nightmares, David thought. If Susanna is a sorceress like in my nightmares, she'll try to make me a murderer. Sorry, Susanna, I must leave. David opened the door and stepped out into the courtyard. Stars dotted the sky. It was as bright as a full moon night. David walked out of the castle's gates and ran down the starlit road. Out in the wilderness, there were no landmarks. He had no idea how far he had to run. Still, he had to keep going, as long as he could breathe. By the time the castle was a small silhouette in the distance, he heard the sound of a car's engine. Then he saw headlights flickering in the wilderness. It's headed for the castle. Is it the sorcerers, or is it the northern tribesmen? David looked for a place to hide, but there were no trees in sight. He could only run across the prairie, getting as far away from the road as possible. The sound of the car's exhaust was getting closer. The grass around his feet was illuminated by the headlights, and he could see his shadow in front of him. The car slowed down behind him. He could do nothing else. He stopped running, and the car stopped as well. A person got out of the car and approached him. It was a man. When he saw him, David started sweating. He looks just like the man I saw in my nightmare when they showed me a photo of the detective's client, David thought. Was he Jeff's? Why was he going to Susanna's castle?
Alright, Jeff Jones, or whatever this guy's name is.
Yeah.
Oh, I love his stash!
Once he came closer, he had no more doubts. Jeff's glared at David with a look of suspicion.
I'll go for it. I was wondering what kind of fool would wander alone in the night, and it turned out to be David himself. What are you doing here?
Who are you?
Jeffs. I lost contact with the detectives I sent to investigate you, so I came here myself. I certainly wasn't expecting to find you out here. I am a northern sorcerer at the service of the King of the North. The Devil King and the Dark Sorcerers are the sworn enemies of the northern tribes. You must die before the blood that flows in your veins is awakened.
I don't want to fight the northern tribes. That's why I ran away. Let's stop fighting. I don't care about this ancient history.
Do you think the Devil King would abandon his quest for revenge just because you want nothing to do with it? Don't make me laugh.
You're all insane. You, Susanna, everyone. You're a bunch of psychopaths.
Whoa, holy shit.
Wow, that's a big.
Right of his head.
That ain't bigger. This ain't a knife. This is a knife.
This is a knife. Yeah, before David could push Jeff's away, he pulled out a dagger. Drop that thing. If you try to take my life, the power of the Devil King will manifest and you'll die. I'm serious.
You won't scare me like that. I know more about the Devil King than you do. Don't underestimate a northern sorcerer.
Jeffs thrust his dagger towards David. He tried to dodge, but his assailant was skilled. Then he felt a sharp pain, and he cried out. While in agony, he thought he heard Susanna's voice. Susanna, help me.
So how is this shit gonna play out now?
David.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. David,
wait.
wake up! It's me, Susanna.
It's me, Susanna.
David opened his eyes. Susanna's face was in front of his. She was holding his hand. What happened to Jeffs? Why are you asking about him? Greg and the others are on their way to capture him. If everything goes well, they should bring him here tonight. He wasn't sure what she was talking about, but then he realized he was lying in bed. What time is it? It's 4 p.m. You were sleeping like a log, so I figured I'd let you rest. Did you have a nightmare? What about Mr. Lance? He's on the roof with his wife, keeping an eye out for the northern tribesmen. David, is there something wrong? Does your body hurt? My body feels heavy, weak. I feel like crap. David finally realized... Sorry, what?
Doing drugs.
Yeah.
Doing drugs. David finally realized that what he just saw was another one of his dreams. I get it now, David thought. After I took those pills, the detectives were killed. If they catch Jeffs, they'll kill him too. That's why I had that nightmare. I thought you'd attain the powers of the Devil King, but it seems they weren't northern tribesmen. But Jeffs is one of them. I'm sure of it. His blood will definitely awaken the Devil King. The memory of the two corpses lying in a pool of their own blood made David feel sick. Are you alright? You must be weak because you haven't had anything to eat yet. I'll go fetch something for you. Wait for me, okay?
I'll cook you up another lobster.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm curious if it's actually the same picture.
Once Susanna left the room, David thought once again about the 2 dead men in the basement. Even though I didn't kill them directly, I feel responsible. If I were to cause more deaths, my heart wouldn't take it. But I can't leave the castle either. I can't face the northern tribes alone. Greg will come back with Jeff sooner or later. What am I going to do then? Oh, here we go. Whoever this is definitely Jihun. David wanted to cry. He curled up into a ball under the covers, but then the voice of King Hroth spoke to him.
David, why do you worry? You must sever farther your destiny. Once you take the power of Devil King, all your worries shall disappear.
Can't you see the pain in my heart? It's because I'm following this destiny that I'm suffering like this.
Susanna and the Dark Sorcerer are ready to give their lives to protect you, and yet you only worry about yourself. If you fail to defeat the King of the Northern Tribes will kill them all! They will kill Susanna. Susanna, the woman who chose to become sorcerers out of love for you. Are you willing to throw her feelings away out of fear?
Is that the correct order of things there?
Are you not ashamed of your cowardice, David? I mean, you could be tricky. If you cannot run away from your destiny, you should run headlong toward it. Lead the fight against the King of North.
Maybe I was wrong, David thought. Maybe I was only worrying about myself. If I'm destined to kill, then I should ready myself rather than curl up into a ball and cry.
That's what I do every night.
David made up his mind, and his worries disappeared. His frustration was quelled, and he was finally calm. King Hroth, I'm gonna realize their ancient wish. If it makes Susanna happy, I'll annihilate the northern tribes, become the Devil King, and sever the blood of the King of the North. After his proclamation, David felt himself filled with the same power and confidence that he had during his concerts.
Is filled with determination.
Yeah. I should start hearing the theme song from his band, man. I forgot what the music that played for that was.
It was like it's like one of the preset like songs that's on your your keyboard when you get it. It just like plays like some random songs.
I think of that song in the...
It's like some synth beat.
Yeah. His mind made up. David jumped out of the bed. In the dark room, the candles flickered. What's the matter, David? You literally jumped out of the bed. Did you have another nightmare? David thought his conversation with King Hroth had lasted only a few minutes, but looking outside the windows, he noticed it was night. You fell asleep while I was cooking. What did you dream about this time? I was scolded by King Hroth, and now I see everything clearly. I feel that by fighting against my fate, I'd only end up hurting you. If I'm destined to kill, then so be it. Are you sure you won't regret it? Now look who's the voice of reason. I kind of feel like Susanna is just whatever character the game needs to be. You know?
Well, she's always kind of thinking of him.
Yeah. Except for the time that she gave him sleeping pills and then used his blood to cast magic to kill 2 dudes.
Yeah,
I don't think she was thinking of him at that point.
I mean, we kind of had a choice there.
I won't. The moment I accepted my destiny, I started feeling the same way I felt during a concert. Strong, confident. I'm happy to hear that. Greg and the others are waiting for us in the basement. Greg, you say? Ah, they must have brought Jeff's. What time is it? It's 10 p.m. Are you sure you'll be fine? Jeffs is a northern sorcerer. A moment of weakness and you could die. You have to trust me, Susanna. Don't ask me to run away now. I'm sorry, silly me, having doubts just now that your mind's made up.
There's her sorcerer crew.
David and Susanna went down to the basement. Alright guys, so here's the test. What characters did you guys voice? Inside the room was Jeff's.
I wrote
hands
down,
tied behind his back, surrounded by Greg and the other dark sorcerers. When he saw his face, David thought back to his dream. He looks identical, he thought. This is the first time I meet him in person, but he's just like the man I saw in my dream. How is that possible? Jeff stared at David in disbelief.
How are you alive? I'm sure the dagger pierced your heart.
So you were behind that nightmare. Susanna, he's a sorcerer. In fact, I think its sorcery is second only to the King of the North himself.
Indeed. I am a northern sorcerer. The fact you survived my incubus curse can only mean you manifested the power of the Devil King. If only I had confirmed you carried his blood earlier.
If it's an incubus curse, does that mean he also fucked me?
Could be. I always think of those the incubi from Nocturne.
Yeah. Oh, the sweet, just like horn penis.
Yeah. Yep. No matter. The King of the North will succeed where I've failed. Now tell me, Susanna, why have you brought me here?
We want you to tell us the King of the North's whereabouts. We already know you're not going to tell us willingly, so we're going to cast a confession spell. Why didn't they do it with the detectives?
Well,
that's what they did, I think, right?
Yeah, because detective wouldn't tell them. No.
Oh, right, because he said he had training against it, right? Besides, your spells are too dangerous. We're going to make sure you can never cast them again.
Your spells may have been effective on a pair of detectives, but I am a northern sorcerer. Do you really believe you will succeed?
You may be a northern sorcerer, but we are the dark sorcerers who have been guarding the bloodline of the Devil King for generations. We will not fail. Oh my god, I feel like I'm like watching an episode of Power Rangers now or something. Take the pills, David. We'll handle the rest. I don't need the pills anymore, Susanna. I'm confident that I can bring out the power of the Devil King just by listening to your incantation. The moment I stopped fearing the sight of blood, I've started feeling the power of the Devil King more and more. Sensing his overwhelming energy, Susanna dropped the pills and began chanting her spell. Jeffs stared at Susanna, then scoffed at her.
What a fool you are, Susanna. You have failed to notice the change within my consciousness. As I thought, you dark sorcerers are nothing but buffoons.
David's body was heating up from Susanna's spell. At the same time, he saw the heat engulfing Jeff's. Susanna ignored Jeff's taunts and kept chanting.
Even by borrowing David's power, your sorcery amounts to nothing. You will never be able to control my consciousness.
Her forehead was beaded with sweat. She was starting to lose her nerve from her spell's lack of effect.
I've had enough. Have a taste of a real spell?
Jeffs chanted a spell, and Susanna's face turned red, as if she'd walked into an oven. Unable to withstand the pain, Susanna stopped chanting, gasping for air. She glared at Jeffs. Only the King of the North can repel a dark spell. I'm afraid the King of the North is possessing him.
You finally realized it. Now, Let us put an end to this charade.
That's a new scream. Blood gushed out of Susanna's face. Then, from her hands, her feet, she collapsed to the floor. The other dark sorcerers started fleeing in panic, but the spell of the King of the North spared no one. In a matter of seconds, they were all lying on the floor, writhing in a pool of their own blood.
Damn, he's got some powerful spells.
Oh my god! Crying in anger, David jumped at Jeffs, choking him. With his hands tied behind his back, he could not resist. His consciousness filled with rage, David was seemingly impervious to the King of the North's death curse. His fingers gouged Jeff's throat. Jeff slumped down to the floor, unable to speak. His life was leaving his body. David stared at Jeff's blood. Then, he pointed his bloodied hand south, chanting, no, howling a spell. David, now the Devil King, could easily sense the flow of the spell of the King of the North. His counterspell, fueled by vengeance and 2 blue mana, followed the magical waves back to the source.
Damn, he casts a spell pretty fucking far.
He chanted his spell with all of his might. His figure overlapped with that of King Hroth, a demon obsessed with vengeance. The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events have occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Melis. Oh, good. A few days later, Alan, Andrew, and Martin were talking to the chief physician of the Heath Mary Mental Hospital in the suburbs of London.
I don't remember any of these voices anymore.
Oh, you're doing Andrew for sure.
Yeah,
I think this was just you.
Keep it to us straight, Doctor. Is David ever going to wake up? Now I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Mr. David lived through something so traumatic that he was only able to cope by shutting himself in. It would take a shock of similar magnitude to bring him back. At this point, I cannot say when or if he will be able to leave our clinic. Damn it. I can't even imagine what he went through during his vacation.
I saw the photos of the crime scene. It was straight out of a horror movie. If they told me it was a picture of hell, I would believe it.
Believe.
Hey, knock it off, Alan. I lost 20 pounds since I saw the pictures. If it was me in David's place, I would have died of shock.
Reportedly, the police found 2 more bodies in the castle's courtyard. It's a complete mystery. But tell me, what's going to happen to Eleno Vision? Oh, is he a big fan? Out of business until we find a new vocalist. But I have a feeling we'll never find someone like David. With that said, Eleno Vision won't break up as long as David's alive. We'll wait until he wakes up and climbs up on the stage again.
Hey, you said it. I'm a fan of his too. I feel if we were to disband, we'd never be able to listen to his songs again. I feel the same way. Come hell or high water, I want to keep Eleno Vision alive. Anything to hear David sing again. His rage spent, David lost consciousness and never woke up. Was his mind unable to cope with the mighty powers of the Devil King? Or had the sight of Susanna's gruesome death been too much for his heart? I assume this is just credits.
Okay. So we got our revenge. That's also similar to another ending we had on the other run, I think, where we did successfully kill the guy,
Mm-hmm.
but Susanna had died, and I think we died shortly after.
Mm. So
But this one we didn't die.
yeah, everyone else did though. Like all the Susanna.
Everyone's dead.
Yeah, I guess the rest of the band didn't die, but that's been the case. All the endings are so far removed from them.
Glad they showed back up though.
Yeah.
Okay. What did I miss?
Yeah, I guess
I guess we're comatose again.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got our revenge.
That
Yeah.
was scary, angry face.
So the next the next save state we'll load is a pretty decent chunk back.
It's whether we kill the detectives or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very clear I think it was clear as day that keeping them alive was important to truly, get a good ending.
He did not want to be involved in murder.
Moida. Press the any key. Even this route's gonna have another split.
Yeah.
There's only 2 left.
Gonna be a long night, boys.
I remember why I don't remember the first half of the game, because you're playing this on Wednesday. You were playing this on Wednesday, so it
was like the middle of the week. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then because of our time difference, it's kind of hard for me to join the stream in time. That's why I missed a big chunk of the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that I was tired, so I fell asleep. If I was not involved that big.
Even if you were here, it's past that anyway.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, last year when we did these games, you had a rough go of it. You might have fallen asleep. I don't remember.
Yeah, I have fallen asleep. I remember for sure.
I've passed out before.
I mean, I think this is the one you were pushing the 2-3 stream per week to get the affiliated.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's been a bunch of Square Enix games coming out. Oh, did you ever attempt to play that Final Fantasy VII mobile game?
No, never.
It was
I haven't.
What's that genre called?
Like the PUBG, whatever type.
Yeah.
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale Final Fantasy. Well, it's closing down after only existing for a year.
Oh my god!
It had been on phones this whole time. Did you even know?
I knew about it, but I didn't know anybody who had played it. Like, it's just not. I don't think it's a Final Fantasy game that's only on phones, and it's a battle royale shooter. What's the demographic? Well, like, what the fuck is the Venn diagram of those people?
Oh, not many. It turns out.
And then this is my personal gripe, is that mobile game. And it's battle royale. Like, I don't know. That's pushing it, honestly.
They've had PUBG for phone.
Yeah,
and there's like tournaments and stuff. PUBG on phones is serious business.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I don't get that. I mean, I'm very picky about what kind of game I have on my phone. Like, one that I can access easily, the one that I don't have to rely on mobile data much. So that's just me.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to it. We got a lot of ground to cover, boys. The 2 detectives have saved his life. David could not possibly inflict mortal pain upon them. David, this could be our last chance to find out who their client is. I can't do this, Susanna. These men saved our lives. I can't kill them. The northern tribes may be coming to kill you as we speak. If you were to die, I don't think I could keep going. Again, these 2 have met like a couple weeks ago.
Well, she's always known him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
I've made my choice. Please untie them. Susanna understood that David would not change his mind and asked Greg to untie the two detectives. As Clark and Vince were being untied, David spoke to them. I know you're just doing your job, but your client obviously wants me dead. I want you to promise to stay away from us. That's right. Your client is a murderer. I don't care if you're detectives. If you keep associating with him, we're going to find you and kill you.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I'm so done with him. I'm actually a big fan of David's. I'm terribly sorry our work put you in danger. Please, forgive us.
Name's Clark. I know you saved our lives and all, but I still can't talk about our client. Here, take this. I swear to withdraw from the investigation. I'm a man of my word.
Clark took out his notebook and flipped through the pages. Then he wrote something, signed it, and handed a slip of paper to David.
Come on, Vince. Let's get the hell out of here. And David, see you at your next concert.
Clark and Vince hurried out of the room. David looked at the paper Clark gave him and gasped. David? What did he write? He wouldn't talk about him, but he wrote the client's name and address. They weren't Northern tribesmen. They were actually your fans. I almost did something terrible. After what happened to you, Everything's fine. At any rate, we know where this man is, and there's no doubt he is with the Northern tribes. Let's go. This time I won't hesitate to take the pills. Please wait! They know your faces! If they see you approach, they'll run away! Let us deal with this. We'll capture him and bring him to you. Mr. Lands, you and the others stay here and keep David safe. We must leave now, before they realize that something's wrong. Susanna, stay alert. We don't know when the King of the North could attack again.
I feel like picking that voice could have been a mistake if he suddenly became like another main character.
The power of the pill compels.
Is it blue pill or the red pill?
Like everything's blue in this game, so. Greg's car drove off at a high speed. The headlights faded into the darkness. That night, David was fraught with anticipation and anxiousness. He was considering getting drunk to spend the night, but Susanna gave him sleeping pills instead. You have to stop.
Nom nom nom. Always take her pills.
She's a drug addict.
It's like, say ah. There you go.
Here comes the airplane.
Open Having fun there, boys.
Possibly due to the sleeping pills, David woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. Susanna, who had been sleeping at his side, was not there. David left the room and went down the stairs. He could smell the fragrance of coffee coming from somewhere. He followed the smell into a large room. In the dining room, he found Susanna cooking. Good morning, David. I was going to wake you up once breakfast was ready. Those pills work great as usual. I slept like a baby. Where's everyone? They're on the rooftop with guns, keeping an eye out for Northern Tribes raids. Mr. Land said that we needed to hold the fort until Greg is back.
What are they, rooftop Koreans?
I'm sorry to give you all so much trouble. Because of this blood that flows in my veins, we can't even sit together at the table. We're all bound to our fate. We sorcerers are simply following our path. From the moment we're born, we're destined to be different from normal people. So, unless I become the Devil King and defeat the King of the North, we... David dropped the coffee cup he was holding. He grasped his chest tight and slumped to the floor. Oh, my chest! It feels like someone's pushing a needle through it. Susanna approached David, touching him in order to help him up. David, what's wrong? Does your chest hurt?
It just said.
Don't touch me! It hurts! Someone's pushing a needle through my heart! A needle? If it's the King of the North, he's cursing you! David, don't move! I'll be right back! Susanna ran down the corridor that led to the basement. She returned with 4 clay dolls and a heavy book. Yes!
Oh.
Susanna drew a compass on the floor, with David at the center, and placed the 4 dolls at each cardinal point. Then, she opened the book, and she began to chant a spell. She was chanting loudly towards the wall. Had it been night, the Bellmare comet would be visible in that direction. Her forehead was dripping with sweat. Susanna was devoting all of her strength to create a barrier that would protect David from the King of the North spell. David was sickly pale, his eyesight blurry. In his weak state, he did not react as the South Clay figure started glowing red.
Pass the curse onto the figurines.
Susanna's spell came to an end. Her strength spent, she lost consciousness, collapsing beside David. The pain faded from David's chest. Understanding that the spell of the King of the North had been broken, he reached out for Susanna.
What are you doing, David? You must slay the northern tribes, so Star of Darkness will leap soon. Why do you hesitate? You have inherited my blood. Do you not crave the power of the Devil King? Do you wish to succumb to the King of North? I should not have pinned my hope on some unwilling to kill the man of North. I must entrust my will to the future generation.
King Roth has also been like a different character in every route.
Kinda, yeah. If the King of the North will kill you, he will grow even more powerful. If you're unwilling to kill the North Tribe, you leave me no choice. I must kill you myself. What the fuck, dude?
When David opened his eyes, he saw King Roth looming over him.
Oh, there's a scream.
He's just like, boo!
So it's not the King of North that's attacking, but King Roth.
I think the King of the North was attacking him, and then King Roth showed up to call him a little bitch.
Oh, I see.
That's a good
Is that
summary.
accurate? David's body was numb, and he could not move. As if roused by his scream, Susanna opened her eyes. David, are you all right?
Do I look like I'm alright?
Yeah, thanks to you. I can't believe King Roth was going to kill me. King Roth? No, that wasn't him. That must have been a spell of the King of the North. He must have been trying to deceive you.
Oh, okay.
It was after you broke his spell. King Roth showed up, saying he has no use for someone unwilling to kill the northern tribes. He said he was going to pin his hopes on the next generation. Called me a little bitch. I see. He must be angry because there's little time left. He probably wants you to steal your resolve. So now I have not one, but two powerful kings after my life. Susanna, are you alright? You don't look so well. Susanna forced herself to walk to her chair and sit normally. She did not want David to realize just how tired she was. I'm fine. I think I'll make some more coffee. It took all of David's strength to raise himself up and sit on a chair. David and Susanna were too tired even to chat. They were sitting on their chairs, looking at each other, waiting for the exhaustion to pass.
Longingly staring into each other's eyes. Apparently for hours.
Okay, we're definitely in a dream again, right? After a few hours, the room was getting darker. Susanna had finally regained her composure and talked to David. Whoa, what's this color palette? Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I need to turn on the light. Okay, that was cute. Susanna picked up a lamp and turned it on. How do you feel, David? I feel better now, all things considered. I wanted to lie down, but I'm afraid King Hroth will show up again if I fall asleep. Why don't you go get some rest, Susanna? No, I can't do that. What if you're attacked by the King of the North while I'm sleeping? Well, we won't be able to hold out much longer like this. We can't stay awake forever, but who knows what the kings will do when I fall asleep. Sick of living like this. That moment, they could hear the voices of Mr. and Mrs. Lands, who were hurrying their way. Mr. Lands threw the door open. Out of breath, he addressed David.
Greg is back. They brought Jeffs. I'm sure of it.
At the news, they all hurried outside.
See how this plays out now.
One thing for sure is, like, with this route, all of the all the branches kind of just feel like different permutations of the same thing. Where, from what I remember, the route that we took in, we'll call it episode 3, like, each of the branches led to, like, very different things. Because
we could drive to a different place.
Yeah, like, you could just straight up go to a different area. All the other things take place in the same area, and like the same events happen.
Well, so far, let's see how it goes now.
David joined the others outside of the castle. 4 cars pulled into the yard. Greg got out of his car and opened the trunk. Inside was Jeff's, the man who had hired Clark and Vince. We got him! Let's bring him to the basement!
Yay, to the basement.
Emily hurried to light the candles along the way. Once in the basement, they woke the unconscious Jeffs with smelling salts.
Oh, I didn't know they had it back then.
Here we are, Jeffs! You pretend to be a simple fortune teller, but we know you're a sorcerer at the service of the northern tribes. How about you...
You're right.
How about you do yourself a favor and answer our questions honestly?
Who are you people? Why did you bring me here? I don't know anything about any tribes. I'm just a simple fortune teller.
We know you hired a detective agency to keep an eye on me. Tell us why you did it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go.
Oh.
In this photo, you're shown talking to the detective. And in this one, and in this one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now answer me. Susanna showed Jeffs the photos they took of him talking to the detective. Someone must have ordered you to investigate me. Who was it?
I don't know his name. He was paying me a lot of money to do it, but I don't know anything else. It's true, I swear. I was only in it for the money.
He's a northern sorcerer. Of course he'll never say anything about the King of the North willingly. The king's bound to find out sooner or later. Let's force him to confess with a spell.
The confession spell? Don't do it. You murderers. If I say anything, the King of the North will make me go through hell before he kills me. Please, don't use the confession spell.
You're leaving us no choice. If you talk willingly, we promise to protect you from his retaliation.
You fools! You know nothing of his terrible powers. Listen to me. Let me take David to him, and I'll put in a good word for you. I'll ask him to spare you. Doesn't seem like a good deal at all.
We're done here. David, take the pills. Letting him go would only spell disaster.
Not sure. Oh.
Susanna gave David the pills. Jeff's eyes widened and his lips were trembling. He knew very well the effects of the confession spell. The others surrounded Jeff's and looked towards David and Susanna. Susanna began to chant a spell quietly. David's consciousness was slipping away.
Oh, damn it. Ah! Stop it!
Right.
I beg you! My body, my head! It bends!
I forgot that was you! Jeffs fell onto the floor, writhing in pain.
Ah! But my king, I beg of you, save me! Archbishop of St. Bradford's Church, Lord Malice, save me! Lord Malice, King of the North!
Oh, sure.
Suddenly, blood poured out copiously from Jeff's face. No, not just his face. It was pouring from his entire body. The floor was flooding with the crimson liquid.
Oh, so I just realized something.
What up?
So, you know how Detective was telling, like, no, I'm not telling you Jeff was the one who hired me like that. I wonder that's not being him foolish. I guess that is actually effective of a confession
That's the
spell.
spell, I guess, yeah. You just, even if you don't intend to say it, you do.
Yeah. Now they're
He's
looking at him.
dead! He was killed by a death curse! Horrified from the events, they backed away from the corpse. They could not turn away from the scene, as if they were inside a nightmare. Well, for all we know, they could be. It's done, David. Jeff's told us about the King of the North. David? What's wrong? You should be conscious again now.
Well done, Susanna. It is I, the Devil King. My blood has been roused and has started taking over the blood of the man called David. By the time sun has risen, he will be mine.
Look at how his face changed.
Oh, you got the liner thing going on.
Yeah, he
got
looks
some
like
makeup.
he looks like he's in like a Visual K band now. What? You were supposed to give him your power, not possess him. What's going to happen to him?
Worry not. David's body will remain unchanged. I'm simply replacing his blood with mine. Then his soul shall be erased to make place for mine.
Erased? But what about Eleno Vision?
Everyone cares so much about this band.
What does the Devil King care about the song of your mortals? I've come to kill the King of North. Once my goal is accomplished, you'll be free of your duties. Do what you want with your life.
You deceived us, Devil King. You were only supposed to give him your powers. David, wake up. Come back to me.
Silence, wench. Ooh, I like that. It was you who put his mind to sleep. Kill the king of the north and you can have his body back. Satisfied?
Susanna started chanting a spell that will return David's consciousness. That's a really specific spell. You got that in the book?
It's like a in case of betrayal, chant this magic. That's enough, Susanna. Your duty's over. Leave at once, lest you wish you to die. No mortal can withstand the battle between me and the king of north.
Greg and the others rushed out of the room in fear of David, no, the Devil King. Susanna alone remained. She ignored the words of the Devil King while chanting her spell.
Use your spell at once. Are you betraying me, Susanna? Curses! David is regaining control. Charles, no!
Susanna, help me! Where am I? I can hear your voice, but it's pitch black. Can't see anything. David, I'm here, in front of you. Look at me. Susanna, I can't move my body. What's happening to me? David raised his arms and closed his hands around Susanna's neck.
Die, Susanna!
David! You're strangling me! Put your arms down! David could hear Susanna's voice. He could not see what was happening, but he focused his mind on his arms. If he could help Susanna by lowering them, he would do so.
Relax your body, David. The power of Devil King is flowing into you. Do you not great power? Would you rather be killed by the king of the north?
David heard the voice of King Hroth. He realized his abnormal condition was caused by the power of the Devil King. David tried relaxing his body. Then he heard Susanna scream, and he recalled her words. As his consciousness faded away, David had to decide what to do. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
If we obey the Devil King, we're clearly going to be killing her.
Yeah, I think we obey the Devil King.
Do you want to record and make a sound bit out of that?
If you guys want it, just be quiet for a few seconds here. Okay.
I got an alarm sound.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll save the Save Susanna sound for last. Or the Save Susanna route for last.
Oh, we're coming back.
Deep inside, David wanted the power to defeat the King of the North. As soon as he realized this, Susanna's spell lost its effect. Once again, he was strangling her. David's hands were tightening around Susanna's neck. David's consciousness was desperately trying to let her go. I can't control my arms! Why? David focused his entire consciousness on his arms. Though only slightly, his fingers were releasing Susanna's throat.
What else releasing from the throat?
David, the Devil King is trying to erase your consciousness. He was only supposed to give me power. He tricked us all. He was always after your body.
Oh, I didn't know he swing that way. Okay.
David's consciousness wavered at Susanna's words. The blood of the Devil King assaulted David's blood, and Susanna was once again being strangled.
Susanna, as a dark sorcerer, you should have known that whoever breaks the dark law must receive the ultimate punishment.
Stop it! I'll give you my body if you want it so much, but if you kill Susanna, I'll bite my tongue.
Do you believe you can make such a threat when you have no control over any part of your body? My blood aura is taking over. Allow me to lend you my eyesight. Behold!
David's fingers had gouged Susanna's throat. With a hair-raising sound, her neck snapped.
Hold on. Sorry, I had to burp. Did you see, David? By all accounts, you have killed her. Worry not, your consciousness will soon fade away. You will not have to mourn her loss long. Calm down. Really? Is that a thing?
Calm dawn. Yeah, like when dawn approaches.
Okay. This body shall overflow with my powers. Then, under the vigilant eyes, the stars of darkness, the blood of the King of the North, that's a lot of shall be served once for all.
Star of darkness.
David was losing consciousness and could no longer see Susanna. He could only hear the Devil King. He seemed so far away.
Charles, no! This pain in my chest. You must dispel the accursed King of North.
David fell to the floor.
I need more time. Damn you, King of North. My heart.
The consciousness of the Devil King was overwhelmed by agony. However, David himself could no longer feel pain.
What is this? The northern spells have been broken. I no longer suffer. The King of North must drain the strength. Victor is mine!
The Devil King raised his arms, shouting his joy towards the Star of Darkness. Then, David's body once again fell to the floor, writhing with pain.
I cannot move. I feel no pain, and yet my body is reading uncontrollably. My blood! My blood is being overtaken by David's blood. How could this be?
Oh, my blood feels like it's burning. My heart is going to burst.
The spell of the King of the North will have no effect on my blood, but it stirs David's rousing it. Before long, he will regain consciousness only to die. And with his death, my blood will be severed. I have long waited for the Star of Darkness to shine upon the planet. If I had not killed Susanna, I could have had her cast a defensive barrier. Such a terrible mistake.
Whoopsie.
Wow, this is just straight up a bad end, isn't it? Suddenly, David stopped struggling, and all was quiet. Maybe his heart had finally ruptured, or no. He was not dead. David was pushing himself up.
The magic of King of North has vanished. He must have depleted his very life to cast so many spells in a row. However, that would be a problem. If he died on his own, how unable to take my revenge? Oh, the dilemma. Good. I still sense the warmth of David's blood.
The spell of the King of the North is gone, and I'm alive. Devil King, do you hear me? You killed Susanna, and I'm going to avenge her. With his consciousness in control, David moved his body up the stairs. He left the basement, and then went further up. The Devil King had no energy left to stop him. The King of the North beat you. Look, my blood has been revived, and I can control my body. Why don't you try moving it? Come on, I'm waiting.
You fool! As long as the Star of Darkness exists, my blood is eternal. In fact, my blood is already taking over yours as we speak.
This is the shittiest conflict between the forces of good and evil I've seen. Like, this guy's, like, blood is talking to him. Gasping for air, David raised his eyes towards the top of the castle. With the little strength he had left, he forced himself to climb the stairs. Devil King, your rebirth came too late. Now that I'm here at the top of the castle, I can follow after Susanna. No matter how bright the star of darkness shines, the Devil King can't resurrect if I'm dead.
Stop it, David! Have you lost your mind?
Though his limbs felt numb, David managed to climb atop the castle's wall. Holding on to his fading consciousness, he shouted at the Bellmare comet. You can tell where my brain's at. Hroth, the Devil King. I don't know how many have suffered, how many have died to satisfy your thirst for revenge, but your hateful bloodline ends with me. Thus, David threw himself over the wall.
The like the scream.
Huh?
Yeah, the scream they added in the Star Wars movie. The re-edit. When Luke throws himself over the railing.
Oh my god.
George Lucas added to him screaming.
Really?
Because he doesn't understand his own movie.
The consciousness of Hroth, the Devil King, cried out, gripped by the terror of death.
Every ending in this route thus far has either been death or coma.
The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events have occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Melis. Is that it? Is that it?
Oh shit! That might
disbelieve that that's an ending.
I might go straight to credits.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the Devil King's like, it's just darn. If I hadn't killed her, she could have cast a defensive spell.
Yeah, that felt like such a you picked the bad end. Game over, you know? Like
I'm about to have only one more choice.
I'm just in shock that like that was an ending. Whatever. Okay.
We've only had one happy ending so far.
Oh man.
All right.
He decided to follow Susanna's words. David's hands released Susanna's throat, and she collapsed to the floor.
Susanna, your action go against the dark laws. Do you realize this?
Susanna, though coughing violently, stared at David, no, at the Devil King, with anger. I became a dark sorceress only to help David. If you're going to erase his mind, to hell with the dark laws. I'll do everything I can to bring him back. Devil King, you said that you would give me power, but not only are you trying to usurp my body, you even tried to kill Susanna. Why?
My power can only be unleashed once my blood fully replaces yours. Erasing your consciousness is but one of the many steps.
I don't think this is how blood works.
No. You just go to the blood donation and drain Dave's blood. Easy as that. God, these people are so stupid. Your fate has been sealed the moment you have witnessed the blood of the Northern Tribe. Surrender yourself to me.
Also, I thought the whole reason why David is like special and has these powers is because he already is like the Devil King's bloodline.
Well, it's like, I guess it's like awakening that bloodline in him.
But he kind of already has it.
He has it, but it wasn't activated. And then flip a switch.
I'm trying to follow the internal logic of this game, and it's leaving me hanging.
It's like it's like a typical Japanese, well, not Japanese, but like those like fiction where like you're part of the generation, like your great ancestor was this kind of person, and your blood needs awakening or something like that. I feel like it's something I heard like so many times already.
He had to be exposed to the blood of his bloodline's enemy that activated.
No, I don't want to. Susanna, where are you? I can't see you.
I told you to surrender. The blood in your vein is no longer yours, and your conscience is fading. Only I have control over your senses.
Susanna stood up again and started casting a spell that would bring David's consciousness back. Wait.
Try this again.
The fuck? Don't give up, David. I'm gonna bring you back.
It is futile. Mudada. Susanna, your meager powers will accomplish nothing. David's blood will not return. You are simply wasting your energy.
Ignoring the Devil King, Susanna continued chanting her spell with everything she had. Then there was a change in David's expression. I can see you. Thank you, Susanna. That's enough now. We can never beat him. The Devil King is too strong. Susanna did not reply, continuing to chant the spell instead. They both knew that they were reaching their limit. Tears streamed from Susanna's eyes. Her voice was unsteady. The Devil King was not interfering, seemingly allowing her to complete her final heroic act. Stop it, Susanna. Any more than that and you will die. Don't do this. Hearing his voice, she stopped chanting her spell. I don't care if I die now, because I could talk to you again one last time. I wish this moment could last forever, but I don't want to see you die. I'm just like forcing down water. Let's leave this world together with this feeling in our hearts. Susanna, try getting closer to David. Right then, David grabbed his chest, screaming in pain. Here we go again.
All right.
His chest is on his forehead.
A needle is piercing my heart. David was writhing in pain. David, what's wrong? Does your chest... Ah! It must be the King of the North.
What? The King of North? Curses! He is struck while David's unconscious under control. He might actually kill him. Ah, my blood! David's blood, roused by the pain, is taking over my blood. Am I going to be defeated by the King of the North? Susanna! You must cast a defensive barrier. If you will not, David's blood will boil and burst out of his body.
Seeing David suffering, Susanna had no choice but to obey. She left to gather the tools she needed to create the barrier. When she returned, she was not sure whether she should actually proceed or not. What was the point of saving David from the King of the North, only for his mind to be destroyed by the Devil King?
What are you doing, Susanna? Are you going to stand there and watch David suffer?
Even if I cast the barrier, he's going to lose his mind forever. I wouldn't be saving him. I would just be exchanging one death for another.
Only logical. Are you saying that it is better for him to go through this torture? When it is conscious that he will no longer feel anything, including pain, If you truly love him, then cast a barrier and spare him agony.
In tears, Susanna drew a magic circle and started chanting her spell.
Cease that pathetic whining. You must devote mind and body to the spell if you wish to spare David from his torment.
Seeing David squirm in pain, Susanna focused her mind on the spell. Finally, his expression relaxed. The pain is leaving. It must be your barrier. Thanks, Susanna. And goodbye. Devil King, if you want my body, hurry up and take it. At this rate, Susanna's gonna die. David's blood went still, and the blood of the Devil King was replacing it once more. David's consciousness began to fade. He seemed to have accepted his fate. David, don't go! What am I gonna do without you?
David is no more. His memories are gone. I no longer require the barrier. David has truly become the Devil King, or Pirate King. Susanna, I forgive you for your breaking the dark laws. In return, you must serve as my personal slave forever.
Yikes.
I know, right?
Susanna's eyes were no longer looking at David. They were looking at someone who used to be David.
Pour the blood of dead northern tribe onto a plate. I shall reverse the flow of the spell of the King of the North. He will feel the agony of his own magic. That was fun.
Without a word, Susanna obeyed the Devil King's order. She poured the blood of a corpse onto a plate.
Made a soup.
Oh yeah. You should be ashamed to cook. Yep. Chap Boyardee. You should be ashamed to call yourself a dark sorceress with your meager knowledge of magic. Observe, Susanna. This is how you cast a dark spell reversal.
Well, how do we cast it, pal?
I'm waiting.
David,
Brick wall.
the Devil King, chanted a spell. Then he threw the bloody plate south. The stone wall hit by the plate was stained crimson with blood. Then, blood started pouring from the wall. It poured copiously, as if the stone wall itself was alive. Could that have been the blood of the King of the North?
The blood of the King of the North. How many times off do I have to say? The blood of the King of the North has been severed. How pathetic to expire from mere spell reversal. Perhaps time has diluted his bloodline, weakening his magic. I suppose the same has happened to all. Was it me?
Yeah.
Okay.
They all sorcerers.
Sorcerers dark and northern alike.
They teleported all his blood out of his body. So,
Good soup.
Susanna, send a summon to all sorcerers in the world. I shall establish a dark kingdom. Any country that will not submit shall be annihilated with my forbidden arts. What do you call them? Rejoice, Susanna. Your beloved David will become the king of the world. What the hell?
Susanna was not listening to the Devil King. She approached the man that used to be David and hurled herself at him, piercing his heart with a dagger she'd been hiding. The blood of the King of the North has been severed. I won't let you disgrace David's body any longer. Brand me as a traitor if you want. I don't fear your punishment. The Devil King, his chest pierced, slowly pointed a finger towards Susanna. She screamed as blood started oozing out of her body. She collapsed, squirming in a pool of her own blood. she did her best to resist the urge of crying in pain. She did not want to give the Devil King that satisfaction. Now, she could only await death. Shortly after, David's body collapsed, falling onto Susanna's blood. Agonizing, she crawled towards him. As death was upon them, they managed to grab each other's hand. As their consciousness faded, they had forgotten their pain. They left this world together, smiling.
Oh, a happy ending.
Nice boat.
The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events have occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Mellis.
And there is only one ending where they get out of this alive, and we saw it on the other road.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay, so I guess showing her the letters just like leads to well.
Remind me what
One of them
Snitches get stitches.
I got comatose in one of these, and she was
Remind
still
me-
alive.
Remind me what happened in the other ending that we already watched.
All right, so one of them we go to like I guess their headquarters or whatever, and Susanna ends up dying, and then we do succeed in killing Mellis, but then dying ourselves. I think that was the one we agreed was like the most satisfying.
Yeah.
Because I think everything was within our control. Like, we did everything. Like, we didn't have any of our groupies involved at all. I forget which ending it was where it was like the peace route. Like, no one died. That was another one.
Yeah, like nobody died and Susanna had the baby and everything.
Yeah, she had the baby, the Dark Star flies off. See you 300 years, suckers.
And I know we saw a third ending. I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember. It was those two, like that. They were the most. I remember the best last time.
Yeah.
So the best ending here was the one where I guess Mellis still died, but would then we're comatose. But then Susanna's still alive too.
I'm having trouble picking an ending here that's most satisfying.
From
They
today's
all kind of
This
fall
last one was
somewhere in
happy.
the middle. Yeah. Yeah, like this is probably the best ending out of like the ones we've seen tonight.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think the two endings we were just talking about that were in the other stream last year were better overall.
Well, I'm gonna say though, like the distinguishing, like the branching point between the pair of endings we saw here is there's four of them in pairs. Was choosing to not kill the detectives. I was expecting more from them after that part.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we spared that they'd come back one more time.
One more time.
'Cause I feel like they showed up in one of the other endings. Why that happy ending? The one where no one died.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Overall, game's interesting. I think we talked about it a little bit last time too.
This game is a masterpiece.
It's great. Like with us jumping back into it here, like you're missing like a lot of the earlier parts with all the dreams and fucking fortune tellers. That shit was magical. Like just like still being utterly befuddled and not knowing where anything would go.
Yeah, but are we literally the only people who play this?
Rotor. There's like a couple.
Oh, okay.
Like literally couple.
Yeah. More people need to know. And they don't necessarily need to play it. They can watch us read along and commentate and all that stuff. I feel like we did a pretty good job over the past couple of years.
Remember that guy. The band only showed back up in one of these endings.
Oh, that's true. That's kind of a bummer as well.
That was one where everyone died, except somehow we were still alive but comatose. of all these dream old men. The last credit is the dream prisoner.
Aren't we all dream prisoners?
In a sense, yeah.
Prisoners of this. Mirrors. Great
I want
game.
more.
Did they ever make a sequel? Is there any more Dark Stars?
Guys, a game like this has got to be like fairly easy to make. Like, I mean, like, we could do it. We could make the sequel to Mirrors. Yeah.
Hire a bunch of random actors. Like, I post this way. And then,
Yeah.
There isn't even a wiki for this game.
oh my god.
Wait, there is?
There isn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you said.
Okay,
there
no
is.
way. Yeah. Oh, while I have the opportunity, I want to show you guys my favorite like CRT filter I've seen, like favorite scan lines.
Oh god.
Oh, it does not look good on stream. Maybe I can. Hold on.
This appears to be the last game from that studio, by the way. They only made 2 games.
Oh, that's such a bummer. What's the other game they made?
Wherever the hell this game is, I can't pronounce it. Onro Senki?
Oh, good. This is Japanese developer. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's also a first-person adventure game.
I'm looking into this right now on the stream.
I don't think it's translated, though.
I hell got it. Omnio. Oh.
Ghosts of People Wronged. Okay. Another spooky game.
Someone needs to get on this. I want to play it. Oh, there's a PC88 and a PC98 version.
Omnio. Shit, I feel like it means something spiritual. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Oh, Wikipedia entry. In Japanese traditional belief and literature, Onryo is sometimes rendered as wrathful spirit or hatred spirit, a type of ghost believed to be capable of causing harm in the world of living, injuring or killing enemies, or even causing natural disaster to exact vengeance to redress the wrongs. Wrongs.
Okay, so like a vengeful spirit.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, that was not that interesting. Redress the wrong it received while alive, then taking their spirit from their dying body. Onyos are often depicted as wrong women who are traumatized by what happened during their life and exact revenge in death. So almost like like that Ring, Sadako from the Ring series almost. So yeah, Onryo Senki. I feel like it's horror game. Sounds like.
Yeah. But fuck, man, I love Mirrors. What a ride.
Great. I'm pretty sure we mentioned it last time, but Nebulous Translations for the translation group behind it, and I think they did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, Cybermind, I believe it was, commented on the last video we did of this, and once this gets uploaded on YouTube, I guess I'll throw a link his way. We can watch it again, or they. Yeah, it wasn't just Cybermind. I think the notes listed 3 other people.
As a group.
Yeah, that was really cool. But man, what a ride. This was a game we picked up last year for like kind of our Halloween mega stream series. And we were going in totally blind. We had no idea what it was going to be or anything. Like it was so like out there that it just like became part of our folklore after we were done playing it. We had to go back once we heard there was more.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's like this. Clearly, we picked last time like the ending route that actually had a good ending. This one was
Yeah.
mostly bad ends.
Remember, kids, snitches get stitches. Somebody
Yeah.
asks you to go alone, you go alone. You don't tell anybody else about it.
Right.
But what if you're scared?
Well, you saw what happens.
Yep.
So, let's see. So I guess what will happen is it's going to be part 4 on YouTube. By the way, if anybody's watching on Twitch, we have a YouTube channel. You can find it in the information below the stream, or in like the about section. Our YouTube channel is like basically double the videos and like double the resolution that we stream at. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, first of all, I probably have already put a playlist in the description where you can like go back and watch the previous videos. Man, I'm just kind of been out of shape that this game's actually over and there's no more. But let's see. We will be doing our final stream of 2022 spooky games tomorrow night, a little bit of an earlier time. I decided that we're kind of our usual goal has been to kind of just show like a bunch of like a smorgasbord of like different games for like of like shorter horror games, but like I was looking through the ones that like I don't know, like I wanted to be like wowed by a game because like I remember in 2019 we played like 2 appetizer games by Chillizard, and then we played fucking Devotion, which was another masterpiece. And I want another one of those. I want to play like a medium size like good horror game. So I picked one that's I've been looking at for a while, and supposedly takes between 3 and 4 hours. So gonna be playing that tomorrow. Afterwards, we'll be going back to 1 stream per week, and we'll be going back to Disco Elysium.
Should be also fun to come back to.
Yes. Yeah, Mira's is like checking in on an old friend. Still doing great. But all right. I'll see you in hell, or when the dark star rises. Doesn't that make your blood boil?
Let me go get my fortune told. I'll get back to you.
I'll replace your blood with my blood.